Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDISON's New Who Zone. Yes, we are here for Day of the Doctor, but we are going to be doing Night of the Doctor before. So, for anybody that wants to watch that, the link is already in the chat. It's available on YouTube. You can find it on the official BBC YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure it'll be available on the Doctor Who channel as well. So without further ado, let's bring on our guests who are joining us tonight. We've got the one and only Queen Charlotte.
Hello, everybody. If my voice wants to work tonight.
Well, yes, we have had a few technical issues backstage with Charlotte's voice, but hopefully she's got the lockets in and she's all good. Yeah. Anyway, our next guest is the one and only real Super Doctor.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. Thank you for flying in. Next, we've got the one and only PD Rich.
Hey, I made it. Didn't think I was going to make it tonight.
Good man. You're here. Glad to see you for this. Great story coming up. Great. Everybody's going to be crying later on, probably. We'll see. And, of course, no panel would be complete without the one and only problem being
Noel was in such a bad mood earlier.
You can't take Robbie anywhere.
No, I'm terrible.
See that? Yeah, you can't take him anywhere. Rat you out in 2 seconds, wouldn't he? Oh, no, it's in bad humor backstage.
He's a kind of friend, right? Walks down the street, you trip over before you go, and he'll go, walk much?
Yeah. He'll be laughing at you as well. That's the kind of friend he is. Anyway, we're here. Yeah, we were debating. I was debating whether we should do Night of the Doctor or not, and I was kind of like, the attitude was, well, we've already kind of done it. I don't want to do it again. But then I kind of felt bad afterwards, and then I said, right, let's do it. So we're doing Night of the Doctor first, and then we're going to go straight into the 50th anniversary. Now, we're supposed to have another guest on, and I don't know what we're going to do. Do we wait, or do we just go ahead
we can do Night of the Doctor, because that will give time.
Good idea. Right, if everybody is watching, for the people that are watching Night of the Doctor, okay, that's the prequel, you might as well say. So whoever is watching Night of the Doctor with us on YouTube, you know what to do. Please press 1 now. There you go. We got a few ones in there, so everybody is on it tonight. Well done.
Well trained, monkeys. Well done, monkeys. You're well trained.
Well done. It only took you 5 years, but well done.
Got there in the end.
Yeah, so I'll do countdown because there's quite a few ones. So 5,
let's do it.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And there we go. We got some ship hurling through space there and stuff. Oh, it starts straight away. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's no messing around. It's a minisode.
Oh, they're chasing the old TARDIS. Woohoo!
Yeah.
I'm glad Moffat did.
I'm a doctor.
I remember the first time I saw this.
Not one you're
oh my god, yeah.
I was like, yeah, they went there. Finally.
Flipping out.
It's a shame, though, that this got leaked. That this wasn't a complete surprise that some idiot was told everybody in the press.
Yeah,
but you know what? I'm actually surprised that this didn't get the whole thing of a spin-off going.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that would have been the perfect opportunity for BBC at the time to bring him back fully, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Front catches.
They didn't. But look, we got this.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for it.
And you never know.
That's why I always sit at the back of trains. That's the front crash.
You never know.
And I would never rule him out coming back either. I agree with Charlotte.
Yeah, I'd love to
never say never again.
He's the most usable and most classic Doctor that makes sense.
He hasn't fucking aged. That's the thing. He hasn't aged. So
That's
you could get him to even play the version of the Doctor he did in the movie. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
Fans wouldn't know the difference except for the hair.
But I think you would want a Time War Doctor. McGann's this sort of version we're seeing in the minisode. I'd loved to be in the 60th.
I know, but now because we got John Hurt as the War Doctor, I think they would see that as a kind of a disrespectful thing to do now.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the door was actually shut on McGann ever getting a Time War series, was this story coming up.
Well, technically, if you understand the timeline, he didn't this was the beginning bits. So the 8th Doctor was, if you don't count Big Finish, if you just count this minisode, he was at the beginning of the Time War.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
So you could still do this sort of point in time with this Doctor.
He was technically running from it at this point.
Yeah, it's in the audios that he's actually fighting in it. But if you do it purely based off the TV sort of chronological order, you could do this point in time with this Doctor.
He's come to fix their flume again.
Yeah.
Needs unclogging every year.
I remember though, this was my first time seeing McGann as the Doctor, and I was just like, why is it taking this long? I want more of him.
Yeah.
He's that good in the short time he's actually playing the Doctor, and I couldn't understand that.
So it was all licensing, I think. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Licensing issues.
His speech when he's like about to take the juice or whatever you refer to it as, the elixir, I think it's brilliantly performed by McGann.
Boredom. Ex-Gallifreyan colony.
So you're saying here he won't fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still got his old Sonic though.
Yep.
Because originally we changed the Sonic and they changed it back.
What would be interesting is a pre-story to this story, why he's going to save
Yeah,
her.
that's what I mean.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah. Probably picking up pieces from the war.
Yeah, and I think what PD was saying, I think it would be interesting to see this Doctor on the run. If you wanted to do that as the general theme of a spin-off you give him.
Oh, he definitely has to have a spin-off. Come on, RTD.
Yeah.
You know it makes sense. That's what we want.
Make me a warrior.
I love the way the War Doctor's costume is part of Cass's costume.
Yeah.
Yes.
It shouldn't have healed that itself.
Good.
It's like an old regeneration.
It would be, yeah. That's a point. I'll be intrigued with what RTD does with regenerations. But obviously I know that'll be near the end, but just to see how he'll do the process. Again, because he's done the exploding face thing with Tennant and Eccleston.
I think there's going to be a lot of changes, even superficial ones, like the way the regeneration. I'm tired of the same regeneration.
That's what I mean. We've sort of got
classic era had different ones.
It was only Capaldi who had a different regeneration. It just sudden jump, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, that was a
Which
delayed.
was not good for me because I was still heartbroken. I was like, what?
I enjoyed that. I thought it was
Right,
quite.
I'm just
good
getting
to do something
the episode ready now.
Do like that Minnesota though. I think it's one of the best ones ever made.
Oh, because it was a proper story. That's why. It wasn't just a bit of here's some random scene.
I was completely surprised by how good Paul McGann actually was in that, and I mean, it was like after seeing that, I was wanting more.
Yeah.
I was just quite annoyed because of the quickness of his regeneration and that, and then into the War Doctor.
Yeah.
Well, you got to...
Sorry, Charlotte.
No, I was just going to say, it's on telly. He hadn't played the Doctor in God knows, but he'd been playing it for donkey's years on Big Finish, so he knew his Doctor inside out. So he could just play him
serving doctors,
like on a dime, so easy.
Yeah. I'm glad.
And then for many years we were For many years we were expecting a kind of Paul McGann into Christopher Eccleston regeneration.
Yeah.
And then we got the War Doctor regeneration.
Yeah. But as I said, I'm just glad he got an ending. I'm just glad.
Yeah, he finally got his sort of bookend, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, we did, and that's the important. It's like we got what we wanted. Remember that Doctor Who, like when they sort of weren't afraid to do a bit of fan service.
Yeah, in the right way.
Yeah.
Right. Just before we continue there on the panel, sorry folks, if everybody in the chat now is ready for the actual 50th anniversary episode, please press 1 in the chat. Guys, you continue there. Go ahead. Just wanted to let everybody know.
No, but the 50th was all about the right sort of fan-pleasing sort of.
Well, it's supposed to be. It's an anniversary. That's the point of an anniversary. This is why when people are talking about the 60th and stuff, and I'm already hearing people, and Christopher Eccleston coming out with his comments. Well, mate, that's what an anniversary special is supposed to do. It's supposed to be fan service. It's supposed to give. It's a celebration of all things that have came before. So of course there has to be familiarity in the actual anniversary special. Yeah, if you don't have that, then you failed. You know, you're celebrating all things Doctor Who. So Christopher Eccleston's comments for me are actually very poor because, you know, he's calling it a cash grab and stuff. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We know what it is.
Yeah.
And we're under no illusion.
It's supposed to be that.
It's supposed to be, exactly.
Christopher Eccleston's comments very much come from somebody who's not a fan, talking about something that is for fans. That's the difference.
He doesn't understand fandom, I don't think.
He really doesn't.
He doesn't.
I mean, it's something we want. It's not something that the corporations want. You know,
exactly. And it's not for the actors. Sadly,
they have to spend all this money. We have to get all these big name actors back again. It's going to cost a fortune. They don't want to do it, but we want it. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah,
exactly. Because there's a demand. That's what it is.
So, and it's so weird that him begging for the role from Russell T Davies, sending him an email that he wanted to play the Doctor.
Oh yeah,
I just find that a bit kind of strange.
Little story, Super Doctor. Colin Baker told me that.
Yeah,
he did. He's begging for the role. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter, even if he did a show that he wanted the role. But I mean, just because it didn't work out and pan out the way you wanted, and you had a bit of a falling out with people. Doesn't mean now, you know, look, fair enough. He was going through personal problems as well, so it's probably all heightened. And I get all of that.
Yeah.
But there comes a time where you have to let that go and just move on. And these little comments that you're making, they are meant to be little digs. He just needs to get over himself now. I mean, you're back in the fandom. You're charging extortionate money for people to see you and to get a signed fucking photograph of you. And yet you're complaining about the show that actually made you popular. So be quiet.
And using the term cash grab, that's what a lot of people had an issue with.
Yeah, exactly. When he's literally making
grab,
money off fans now. Like, he didn't want anything to do with the fandom until he was told that there was loads of money to be made. and now he's back.
Now he's our
Anyways.
best friend, yeah.
Is everybody ready? Because I want to get this
Sudoku,
going.
Are you
Sadako.
ready? 'Cause you said wait, and I haven't seen a 1 from you. So are you ready? Everybody else is ready, I
And
think.
I
in
don't
the
know
chat.
what's happened, Christian, but it doesn't look like he's going to be joining us.
Caught in a time storm.
Something must have happened.
Yeah. I told him to reconnect.
Give us
Gonna have
about
to
a minute.
hurry up, Sudoku. No one wants to start.
Hey, Kieran. The
Give
chat.
us about a minute, he says. Menu screen's just loading. What are you playing on a potato?
I know it's menu screen. That means he's got it on. It will only take a couple
He's
more
got the
seconds.
Blu-ray version, yeah. That's the problem with Blu-rays. A bit slower than DVD. Better resolution, but a bit slower.
Oh, but I can just imagine. I can just remember the feeling, and I just want that feeling
yeah.
again for the 60th.
Yeah.
Just Doctor Who was everywhere in the good sense. It felt like you were proud that the show got to 50, and everybody just got on.
I had to rush home from a martial arts tournament to see this one. I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I saw this at
Yeah,
the
well, the
cinema.
60th, well, the fact that the 60th has been, see, this is why I reckon the 60th was being done by, it was going to be done by RTD all along. Is
Yeah.
for the simple fact is, if they had gave it to Chibnall, I don't think they would have been as
You'd have a hole in the ground.
excited as fans are now about the
Steaming
60th.
hole.
And it's because of RTD. If this was under Chris Chibnall, we wouldn't be all getting excited about the 60th. We'd be dreading
Oh
it.
God, no.
He'd be sitting there in a hole that just holds like 2 wires going, well, I subverted your expectations. Everything else is burning around it.
Yeah. Oh, right. Stucky said we can start. So do you want me to do countdown now?
What's wrong? Like, why is
He's,
it
he's,
taking
having,
so
he's
long?
having trouble loading it for some reason. So
He's got the Blu-ray.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you a timestamp. That's the best we can do.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, without further ado,
Give
Queen
us a
Charlotte.
shout, Sadako.
So
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
go.
Oh, we got the old intro.
Yeah.
Intro.
Oh, I love the classic Hill Round title.
Enhanced it a little tiny bit.
And it looks so nice, cleaned up as well. Like proper HD.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. They should just use that and colorize it now.
Yeah.
I like the way
Oh, look.
evaporated into the ripples. You know.
Oh,
yeah, I
I
get
think we got.
goosebumps every time I see the
We
foreman.
do, we do. Here he is, Christian, the legend of the traveling TARDIS, is with us.
Oh,
Hello?
Hey, Christian. When you get your mic working.
It's always weird
I
when
thought that was
people
gonna
try
be
to
anything.
connect with the with this stream. They always have issues with their internet. It's mad, isn't it? Like
Yeah, I
John
always
does.
had
John
issues.
is the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it's stormy. It could be the weather.
Yeah.
Keep trying anyway, Christian. If you can hear me, we'll
Yeah,
get
I
you.
can't
We'll get you
remember.
eventually. We'll get you eventually.
We will. I'm trying to remember, did Clara do this bike before this episode?
We lost him again.
Yeah, she did. She did it in the one where they go up the shard. Do you
Oh
remember?
no, but that was the Doctor riding bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
Clara.
she did ride. Did she not ride the bike in the episode? Pretty
Zero
sure
G
she did,
bike,
yeah.
yeah.
draft.
No, I don't like that, and they
No,
better
I
get
don't
rid
like
of that
that scene
now.
either.
TARDIS doesn't
No,
like
I
her.
mean,
Why would it do
the
that?
whole clicking of the fingers
The
to
clicking
close
of
the
the fingers.
TARDIS door. I don't want that anymore. Get rid of that.
No, because the TARDIS doesn't like her.
Get rid of
I
that.
liked
man.
it in 3D when you went through the TARDIS on the motorbike.
Yeah.
Nope.
I actually like that scene with the
I
helicopter.
know, yeah.
carrying
This is the scene
carrying
that
the
when I
TARDIS.
watched it in the cinema, I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
no, this is gonna be just over this." No.
But it felt big. It felt like, yes, this is a proper
They even use the
big
unit music.
deal. Oh, I love
No,
the
I
music.
get it. I get it. It's just.
Oh God, I forgot she was in this.
Oh, it's good. Oh, She's actually a great actress. Well,
Yeah, I don't mind the actress. It's the
Yeah.
leading character, especially
Yeah.
like
The
she was in
character's supposed to
full on.
represent us.
They made her a bit
Yeah.
of a.
Yeah.
Osgood was
Kind of
good at
doctor fan.
the start because like we liked her because she wore the kind of Tom Baker inspired scarf,
Yeah.
but Moffat did nothing with her, and that's
Yeah.
what she kind of became, sort of thing. You know,
She
there was
became
no
fan,
Moffat
substance.
pointing at the audience and saying that's
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and it's like no.
How did
But I
she
like
have no
Kate.
idea he was still in there? Where did she think he was?
And
It's
obviously,
so they can get
because
this
she loves
shot.
the Doctor as well, she was kind of like the person for the audience to connect
Yeah.
with. But that's what the
Pretty
companion
clear
is
to
for.
knock.
Yeah.
It's weird. I have to say, London does look well there now. I have to say,
Yeah.
it does. Probably a shit box, but like it looks good
Yeah.
from the sky. Just like Dublin. Dublin looks great from the sky, but it's a fucking shit box.
Yeah.
And there's Trafalgar Square.
Yep. I'll be
Oh,
pulling
this is
down
the
statues there
It's
soon
full of
enough.
protests now.
Yeah. I always wanted to go to London, but I'm just it's a bit kind of dodgy.
It's not worth going unless you're going to see something or do something specialist there.
Yeah.
Specifically there.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of city.
Of course, we're by the museum, the British Museum, which is lovely. Actually, I've been in there.
And it's
It
not
is
the
a
only
British
time the
museum.
TARDIS has landed there. Trafalgar Square.
It's
when
Trafalgar
The
Square. That's
Daleks have been there.
it's the National Gallery. Trafalgar
Yeah.
Square. This museum's just off Tottenham Court Road.
Actually, Queen Elizabeth I was also in Shakespeare Code, and do you remember
chasing him.
she
Yeah.
This is why.
chasing him?
Yeah, this
Oh,
was
why?
fixing almost a plot hole from that episode.
I think
Yeah.
RTD secretly worked on this one. Gave a few ideas.
I wouldn't be surprised
I
if
would be looking. Moffat would have
Yeah.
listened to him. Of course, Moffat would have listened to him. It's the 60th. I say they would have secretly come up with ideas
Yeah.
together.
yeah, some. I think Russell wouldn't be surprised if he was an unofficial advisor.
And it'll be the
Almost.
same for the 60th now that RTD's in charge. I'm pretty sure there'll be some Stephen Moffat stuff in that 60th anniversary.
Uh,
Oh, I love match reaction here because
Oh.
it's Gallifrey.
Yeah.
His acting is just brilliant. Did anybody guess it? Did anybody suss it straight away? Because, you know, he says Gallifrey falls and she goes, it's also known as...
Yeah.
Oh, I
but
didn't at the time. I was
Yeah.
sick.
Gallery Falls no more.
I kind of knew. I kind of saying, are they saying that Gallifrey? Because that's exactly what was going through my head. I says, no way.
Yeah.
He's going to bring back Gallifrey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love it. They're finally finishing the Arcadia thing because even David Tennant turned around and said, "I was there at the fall of Arcadia."
Well, this is all. This is what I adore about the 50th. It's a complete and utter. All the loose threads from the Time War are just being sorted by the end of this story. It's such a nice ending point for such a massive arc that has now spanned 3 Doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all took Gallifrey for granted, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
It's nice to see it back, and then some fans are arguing that it shouldn't have come back and stuff like that. And now that Chibnall has done what he's done.
Yeah.
Oh, I will not be surprised if RT finds a way to bring it back.
Oh, here we go. This is
Dalek
what I
ships.
liked about the Moffat era, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was big.
Yeah.
Well, and also, this
Especially for
was
the
the first
specials.
we'd seen of the Time War, actual physical anything. And I think this is brilliant.
Think about this compared to the latest series, right? Which was how many episodes? This was one story, and the special effects look way better in this. I think.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's because it's practical. It's not just CGI. That you can tell they physically have filmed this in a proper set. It's not just here's a green screen and let's put some actors in front of it.
Yeah.
They're bringing all the RTD era music back as well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Murray Gold had a field day in this episode.
It's Murray Gold. Murray Gold can bring the episodes to life like no other kind of musician can.
Yeah.
And also, I love that this just shows when the Daleks were like full force in the Time War, how scary they were, how much of a threat they were.
But there's always a thing that how did the Time War actually start? Was it because of the Daleks and the Time Lords, or was it something else?
Well, officially, wasn't Genesis the official start of it?
Technically,
because of what the Doctor did. But then I don't want to know why it started, honestly. That's what I loved about the Time War, that Russell had this massive, big event, but he didn't go into detail. It was just there in the Doctor's back sort of story.
This is how you use the Daleks, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He started using the Daleks like this after this.
He did, didn't he? He started using them properly then.
After in the series 10, he used the Daleks just as a kind of background.
Yeah, this was them proper being full force Daleks.
This to me though was Stephen Moffat at his height.
This is him flexing.
And then Heaven Sent then is just his pinnacle.
War wins words. Sorry, words win wars.
Oh, I love this scene. The TARDIS destroying those Daleks. I always love that scene.
Yeah, and just having like half a Dalek still talking.
What are these words?
The amount of destruction on Gallifrey was it really was unprecedented because we didn't really. This was the only kind of visual bit of the Time War we were actually getting.
Yeah.
I would have still loved to see Timothy Dalton in this role, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the Castellan, though. That's not the. It's not Rassilon.
Yeah, but Rassilon should have been in this. I think.
Rassilon should have been there. Should have been.
And also, I really love the updated Gallifrey robes.
Yeah.
I think they did such a good job updating.
They did.
Yeah.
Because you can still recognise it as Time Lord clothing, but it's different and it looks more realistic.
Yeah.
For the original Time Lord get up, the black and white.
Yeah.
Oh, the very original.
Look more monasterial.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what Russell T Davies could do. He could actually do that and incorporate that into the new Time Lord design.
Where's the hats?
Or the skull caps that they wear.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He does like nicking super weapons, like the Doctor.
Yeah.
He has got
The
a habit
second one
of
he
it.
nicked. Hand of Omega. Moment.
Like I said, if we forget about the Paul McGann stuff, John Hurt, really such a good choice.
Yeah.
Just perfect casting.
Yeah.
And apparently, when he got it, when he was asked, he was absolutely over the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him actually do it like a sit-down panel with Moffat, and he said in that he was really surprised that he got the email asking.
He's technically sci-fi royalty, though, isn't he, from Alien?
He is, but I think even though he is, I don't think he ever imagined that he'd get
No,
an
you can see
opportunity to be on Doctor Who. Like that's like you've
Yeah.
got to remember that's the pinnacle for he's British, isn't he? So
Yeah.
so like
and
that's the pinnacle.
Well, yeah, he was part of that sort of British dynasty at that point we had of acting.
Exactly.
And he was the first Doctor with a beard. He's like the kind of goatee was like the master.
And he's such. And what I love about the casting, he works as such a good opposite to David and Matt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In so many ways.
He started his sci-fi career as a patient or a victim. He's finished as a doctor.
Now,
here's Billy.
Now I get this. I get why he brought her back, right? Because it's the moment's consciousness using a companion from the Doctor's past to try kind of guilt them into not using it, right? But this makes no sense. It shouldn't be Billy Piper. If it was Christopher Eccleston, this is why I know Christopher Eccleston was supposed to be in it, because this part was originally written for Eccleston. Right? So it would have made sense Billy Piper being there with Eccleston, but because obviously he turned it down the last minute because for whatever reason he's just a stuck-up person at this stage.
Yeah.
You know, and he had to incorporate her still, so he just kept her as the same. And
but it's nice how like that translates later on when Hurt is talking about her.
Yeah, and Tennant's reaction.
Yeah. And he's like, "What?"
Yeah,
and obviously you've got
it's a bit of a shame that.
Yeah, and also
probably to do with her absorbing the time stream.
I was about to say, I think there's more to it. I think it's with the eyes. Then you just saw them flash, and that's exactly what she looked like in series 1. So I think there's a bit more to the fact that it's not just they picked a companion that would have a reaction, just emotionally. They picked a companion that actually became basically a god for a couple of minutes.
She was everywhere at once. So
so it makes sense for it to be Rose on that level.
Yeah. But the very look of this version of Rose could actually be from the parallel universe, because
she's so different. I do think Billy gives a really good performance. She's nothing like Rose. She's just this kooky, everywhere sort of scatty character.
Yeah.
They should have called him the War Doctor either. They should have called him the Warrior, you know.
Yeah.
I think they wanted, though, to still have the tag of Doctor.
Yeah.
So that's why they called him
the
War
Doctor.
The original name was the Other Doctor. That was like the preview name.
Yeah.
The Other Doctor.
And then there was another thing, seeing the pictures on Gallifrey base, and there was a lot of speculation that he was going to be replacing Christopher Eccleston, replacing the 9th Doctor completely.
Yeah, they were going to just yank Eccleston out.
Yeah. And I was quite kind of worried about this, because here we had this new character and this mysteriousness of another Doctor that was quite hidden, and we didn't really know much about him.
Yeah. He also has a really beat up version of Eccleston's jacket.
Yeah.
I love this idea of this being a punishment. Because like the Time Lords wouldn't just normally punish somebody. This is the sort of messed up punishment they would do.
You see, the Time Lords like to mess about with the Doctor and the Master, as well as, you know, from the end of time. You know how they messed up the Master by
they play them up against each other.
Yeah. I wonder if Wested Leather made his jacket, who made the originals.
Yeah.
So what I like about the moment is it's such an intelligent weapon. It's like, it's basically there to go, are you sure?
It's tapping into the Doctor's emotions, and does he really want to do it? Like, you know, it's trying.
It's a fail-safe, you know.
The moment is basically a walking conscience.
Yeah.
That's the whole design of it. It
developed a conscience, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, at this point it is.
Yeah.
And that's why because the moment it's so clever because it's basically the War Doctor's companion.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
Clara's there for Matt's Doctor, and then
Yeah.
Tennant's got Queen Elizabeth, and this is the War Doctor's companion.
Yeah.
See, for me though, what they could have done with this scene in particular though was you could have still had Christopher Eccleston if they had got his permission to use his likeness and had him look through the portal and see Eccleston's Doctor do the thing.
Look back
then
at
go
him.
to and then go to Tennant and Smith's Doctor.
I just think if you hear Moffat talk, this was such a rush to get even a working story going that they wouldn't have time to make things make sense of Eccleston bowing out.
Yeah. And it was also the perfect opportunity to cast Bradley as the first Doctor instead of later on, when we got him later on. I mean, they could have used David Bradley as the first Doctor in this.
Yeah. He's been in a few things.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't understand what this is about until later.
Yeah.
Typical Moffat.
This is not a countdown in the mystery box.
I really like the painting of 10 there.
Yeah, because it's clever because it looks like something from the time.
Yeah.
See, my only gripe is if you know Elizabeth I's history, it's fascinating, and I'm a bit annoyed that the only time she got to be a proper bit of a story is sort of as a love interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you know Elizabeth, that is like so not her.
Yeah.
The way she ruled and the way she was.
Let's see if you can see the Queenie version from Blackadder.
And the Doctor's just loving that, just interfering with history and all
Oh,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, he's loving the attention.
Ah,
She dotes on him.
yeah. And David had to dye his hair for the episode.
That's why I like slightly ginger.
Yeah.
Hello, Melina. She's in the chat.
So, hello, Melina, love.
Hi.
Christian's back, I think.
I think, it looks like he might work this time.
All right.
He might work this time.
Welcome.
Hi,
That's from
Melina.
Monty Python. Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Melina. She's probably weirded out, going like, "Why is he on this show now?"
Well, you got here in the end.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do the introductions. Hello, PD. Hello, Problem. Hello, Real. My queen is on it. I kneel, even though you don't see me.
Oh, I love it when he's like having a go at her, and it's like, no, Doctor, that's the real Elizabeth.
You find out the Zygon.
And this is the first scene of the Zygon, the upgraded Zygon.
Oh, Melina, thanks.
It's good to see the Zygons again. Like one-hit wonders.
I don't have it on, so I've seen it enough times so I can commit it to memory. Where are you guys
about
at?
21 minutes in.
Which scene?
The Zygon and the horse scene.
Okay.
Elizabeth's just snog Tennant, and they've just run away from a Zygon.
Oh, you mean the?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the forest now.
Venom sacs in the tongue. Yes.
Wow.
You think, Sadoko, that David Tennant his doctor was getting very close to Captain Jack as far as what he won't snog in outside the TARDIS?
I love this bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the rabbit.
I'll give him a rabbit.
But it's because he's doing this is Moffat having a joke so clearly of look, he's doing a big grand doctor moment, and it's you're a rabbit.
Yeah, just a rabbit, aren't you?
You're basically just.
I can't find it anymore, Charlotte. Maybe I can find the picture, but we actually made a meme of it, and we said about something about the holy hand grenade being needed.
Yeah.
That's right, Sadako. You ain't nothing but a horn dog.
How many months pregnant was she when she did this?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think she was about to give birth. And she was. I think she was very close, if I remember the interviews with her correctly.
I remember though just the press announcement when they were like, "Oh, they've got Stacey," and it was like, "What's she doing in Doctor Who?"
Yeah.
But she plays a good part. Like I said, if you know Elizabeth's history, it's a bit of a shame she's not a big part of the story.
Yeah. Doesn't know about them yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It's under Windsor Castle he found his first fez.
There was actually a joke about this that Sylvester McCoy and Colin Baker and Peter Davison were actually in it. They were hiding under the
Peter David, because they did that for the Five-ish Doctors, didn't
Five-ish
they?
Yeah,
Doctors.
well, there was a few. They were under these. I think they were in some Daleks as well.
Yeah.
So it was like old stuff that you don't see their faces, basically, was the joke.
Well, I kind of like that. Was a Gildenkrantz and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern dead kind of take on it, where they just show up and they become the minor characters, but they're minor characters, so you can't even tell who they were.
Yeah. LOL.
It's like, Matt was so adorable when he tried to be cool. It's like, no, that really doesn't suit your Doctor.
Yeah. Oh, that is the one from the Tower of London. Sorry, not Tower of London, from the whatchamacallit, from Windsor Castle.
You just can't walk past the fez.
Can't get over his little bow legs.
Can we ask questions while you guys are watching?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Aside from the current living Doctors, who do you think was a missed opportunity to be in the 50th anniversary? Who do you think should have been in there?
Do you mean like characters, Christian?
Characters.
Actors,
I'll give an example, like Sarah Jane Smith or the Pasternatter gang, or who would you say that should have been a part of this that they just
I think
didn't
Caroline Ford, because she was Susan. You know, the Susan connection in this would have been something.
So she should have been some kind of like key or influence in this movie. I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
See, I don't know, because obviously Sarah Jane's got the emotion, but I'm trying to think of other classic companions.
If it was Susan that was the moment, it would have worked a bit better than Billy Piper. Because I know it would have more effect in the War Doctor.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking maybe because we've got Kate there and there's the obvious unit connection. Maybe Jo Grant, because she would have had dealings with the Brig.
Yeah.
You don't see Jo Grant until Sarah Jane Adventures again.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for like story sense, because obviously Kate's there, and they do reference her dad. Oh, I love this moment. The proper like competition as to who's better.
See, I think they should have, but it would probably made for a longer, like, it would have been one episode. It would have been like 5 episodes.
I've got a bigger Sonic than you have.
Yeah, that's the Millennium Effects Sonic screwdriver that Tennant's got, because it's got the weird yellowy casing on it.
Yeah.
He actually does have his own, but he decided to use the Millennium Effects one instead.
I think they should have an episode like Night of Romana to explain what happened to Gallifrey under her watch.
Yeah.
At least to what leading up to the time where, because she deserves
a
lot of recognition. Even though she gets the big finish, she should have TV time. She definitely needs TV time.
Yeah, that would have been good. Instead of the Sky Trenches. Romana.
The glasses.
Look at him looking.
I know. Especially what he says in a minute.
Matt Smith's face is just priceless. Yeah.
It's like big rubbery things. Yep. Venom sacks. See, this is why this is not fan service. This is the fun of an anniversary in a multi-doctor. When they're just riffing off each other.
They're all anniversary episodes supposed to be weird and a bit silly. That's the whole point of them.
Charlotte, I'm not downing I'm not antagonizing you on this one. And this is not to you at all. I don't understand why anybody would antagonize fan service. I mean, isn't that the whole point of a TV show? That's
what I'm saying. This is the whole point of an anniversary.
Oh, no. I was proving a point. I was proving a point, but I wasn't trying to contradict you. I was trying to support you on this one. To say that anytime I hear the word, the BBC came out, that article said, should fans get?
Eccleston forgot that memo. Didn't read the memo.
Yeah.
Calling
I'd
it a cash
fan
grab.
service and memo berries any day of the week.
I mean, it's not necessarily fan service if it actually supports the story.
Yeah, and it's the fun of it, and that's what I
exactly.
You only ever get this at certain times in the show, so just enjoy it when you have it. sort of.
Well, then that article came later when it was going to be Jodie's turn, and then the BBC wrote down, "Well, should we? What was it? Should we do what the fans say?" And I'm like, "Yes, you supported us. We supported you."
Yeah.
You proved yourself. You built up an audience, and then later on, you're supposed to build up a new audience. So what else is there for your job to do? But to service, it is to make us happy.
Yeah.
And now John Hurt's like, "Oh God, I turn into you too."
Yeah.
Even that one.
Yeah.
Even that one.
Yes. I'm having a midlife crisis.
They are scientific instruments, not water pistols.
Yeah.
This is when you can see the sort of Bill sort of spirit in a lot of John Hurt's Doctor.
And what's interesting, Charlotte, is that out of the three of them, he's the moral compass. He's the one that they're avoiding. Yeah. So what does that say about the Doctor in his future lives? He's the moral barometer.
Yeah, he's the shameful one. He's the mistake. But he's the one who's the more moral and the more sort of sound advice.
Exactly. He's the one who's got it, and he's the one who's like, oh, yes, they are.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed this whole thing with Clara being a witch because I really didn't like her at this point.
What do I?
Well, next season.
Kate's going like, I think he's talking to you.
Yeah.
It's like
So it becomes one next season.
The best thing she could, I'll turn you on the frogs.
As long as they don't talk, we're fine. Timey-wimey.
No idea. I love that.
This is what I did like about Moffat's run. When he could have fun with himself. He could take the mick out of himself.
Yeah.
But he had not only is he having fun with himself, he's having fun with the characters, and he understands each one. When the War Doctor finally turns around, and goes, "I don't know if I want to be like you." It's kind of contradictory that these two didn't want to be him, and then he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be you, and I'm the grown up of the bunch here."
You're capable of speaking without flapping your arms. Yes.
What also I love is that then you had all the sort of the more jovial, silly sort of having a bit of an argument, but now in this bit you get real serious confrontation.
Yeah, this is
between
the
them
serious
all.
conversation now. Yeah. This
Which
is like where they talk about how many millions died in Gallifrey, and David Tennant's Doctor's insulted because Matt Smith's Doctor has forgotten.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is the best of Doctor Who. When one moment you're crying because of joy and laughter, and the next minute you're crying because of emotion and compassion. I rarely do you see this in any series, and I see it very strong, at least in Moffat era, not Chibnall era, Moffat and RTD era.
Yeah, this is also a time when art starts imitating real life in regards to the War Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. You've actually got the character options War Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. It's almost as good as a real prop because it was built from a character option Sonic Screwdriver. Art
This
starts
is clever.
life.
This is clever. I like this twist.
Yeah.
That you're starting to think, oh, there's something going on with these statues, and there's something more than we're seeing here.
Yeah, but if I was a stickler in all reality, you wouldn't get the stone to be that fine like sand in the first place. So that's a bit of a...
It must have disintegrated them.
Of course, if I'm being a stickler about it, then it wouldn't be like that. It'd be in chunks. But we let certain things fly, because the Doctor was hanging off the TARDIS at the start of the bloody story. So I mean,
well, yeah, and at least there's because I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago on Dan's stream when Ian was like, "Oh, does it make sense?" And I was like, "No, if there's a bit of logic to it, I can forgive it. It's when there's no logic that my brain sort of really doesn't like it." But you can see there's something, like I said, logical with the statues and them hiding that way in the sand.
Basically, your sister is better than you.
I'm sorry,
So
let's just
remember,
out for a second. I
the
just
real
walked
one
into your
picked up
sister's
the,
better than you.
The real one picked up the inhaler.
Yeah, we're talking about the two Claras. Two Osgods.
Yeah, Oswins, yeah. Oh, sorry, Osgod. It is Osgod. Oswin's Clara's nickname.
Don't compare it to her. Don't compare it to her.
Too many Aussies. Too many Aussies.
Oh yeah, the memory filters. That's a good idea.
Okay, shout out Lord Thought. Shout out this. There you go.
10 years. How ethical is that, though?
Not very, and that's the point. It's the Black Archive.
Yeah. As long as his long-term memory still survives.
Please, Doctor, help us. Please, Doctor, help us. Please, Doctor. I like some of Sadako's comments. The rule of writing sci-fi: never ask your audience to believe too many impossible things at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a limit.
Except for Chibnall, when you have to believe everything that they write during his
Yeah.
time.
Oh, I know.
Then it hurts. It really hurts.
It's a headache. It's a headache.
The Chibnall era doesn't exist.
Oh, but did you just catch that line? Think about it. Americans with the ability to rewrite history. I think Moffat was having a bit of a dig there.
Think about here standards, it's more ethical than some of their other methods.
Yeah.
Somebody triggering their sonic screwdriver.
I want to sit to my side.
Oh. Well, it's only fair if I trigger mine.
Mine's still got any power.
Yeah, okay,
Just
maybe
these things
realise.
I love
Making
it,
in me.
Melina. We don't talk about Chibnall. We don't talk about Bruno.
About to say you got me singing that in my head now. See that's nice effect. Like mid transformation.
Pretty grim.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, Moffat did well here.
Fine.
Now, I'm just going to give you a word of warning.
Mhm.
When it gets to the Tom Baker scene, I don't want to hear any screwdrivers, yeah?
Okay.
Or I'll be shoving them where the sun don't shine. All right?
That scene means a lot to Noel.
Yeah.
That
Oh, here we
scene is
go.
my scene. That scene was made especially for me. Right?
Just let me know when it comes on.
Oh, you'll know.
Trust me, everybody be crying on the panel.
I'm not testing fate, but I do want to test it just to see Noel come all the way to Florida to sing a shot
Yeah.
up my bum.
Oh,
Well,
here we go.
I will be coming to America because my wife is American, so
Oh,
I'll be living in Missouri in a couple of years from now. So
hello, TARDIS.
Yeah.
Hello from the deep south.
so I'll be
Yeah.
Americanizing the TARDIS zone. I'm only
Yeah.
messing everything. No, you don't Americanize the TARDIS zone. It won't work.
So here's the bit I love with the characters and
Here it is now.
yeah.
Okay.
You got a timestamp?
Coming up to 40 minutes now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're coming up to the talk that they have in the Tower of London.
Right.
Because they've just asked the War Doctor, how recent is the Time War to you?
Yeah.
So now they're going to talk about counting how many died.
Right.
Yeah. This is deep, this bit. Really deep.
It is deep, but if you were in the situation of the Doctor and there was no way out, and it was the only way to save billions of other people, would you actually do it yourself? Would you actually press the button? That's the question here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I think's so deep about more the talk they're having now is it's this idea of how long do you allow yourself to feel guilty for something? And that's
Exactly.
what the discussion's about.
Yeah.
Because with Tennant's Doctor, it's so recent and it's so raw. The idea of not feeling guilty is unethical and anger-inducing. Whereas Matt's coming at it from a point of, well, I'm later on, and it was killing me to hold that guilt. So this is my solution, I forget. And like that is such an interesting and deep moral debate, because which side can you condemn in that argument? You can't condemn any side.
Well, he was trying to condemn himself, and it's like, how long do you put a thief in jail? Do you put him for a day, a week, a month, a year, the rest of his life? I mean, how much of a crime do you put into yourself? And I think, that is a deep thing where whatever crime you're doing, I think there's also a mental awareness that when you do something wrong in life, even the most embarrassing things, every once in a while you'll do something that is horrendously embarrassing. How long are you going to kick yourself, and does that memory come back? Do you continue to punish yourself?
Exactly. You've got to. There comes a time where you've just got to move on.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, same with the Doctor as well. And I can understand David Tennant's Doctor's reaction to Matt Smith's Doctor's way of dealing with it. But that's exactly what I would do. I would not forget, but I would put it in the back of my mind and just move on.
Move
'Cause
on.
You can't dwell on that stuff. That's what eats you alive, and that's what was eating David Tennant's Doctor alive. So you just got to move on. And look at even Christopher Eccleston's Doctor. He was a broken man when he met Rose, and she made him better. So by the time he got to David, he still regretted the things that he'd done, but he was able to kind of have his adventures. But came back to haunt him in the end then, because he was losing people left, right, and centre, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So.
And that's why I'm so happy. I was so happy that it took the platform of the special to deal with the Time War, because you couldn't just do it in an episode in the normal run. It needed to have this space of this extended episode, because there's so much to unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what the funny thing about this is, though? They're all working together, and all you had to do was just check the fucking door.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
I
the whole comment. It's that the Doctor overthinks stuff. That the Doctor thinks sometimes too big, and it's like, well, just check the door.
Did you not just check the door?
But at a point, Charlotte, when we get to the 11th Doctor, he's going like, well, nothing I'm going to do now is going to change anything.
Yeah.
Why are you yelling at me? You know this. It's already happened. You can sit and dwell on this all you want, but all you can do is I've moved on, and I'm going to be better. And here's a funny question I'll pose to the five of you. I'll put this into the chats too, because I have a philosophy I would like to do. I know we're doing the 50th anniversary. When do you think the Doctor picked up the Doctor moniker again?
Ooh.
And why? I stumped all of you right now.
I'm thinking.
When he
Do
did a runner.
you know what it could have been? Maybe the first time he saved somebody as Eccleston's Doctor.
That's a good thing.
Because then he would have had an action to say, "I'm back to being the Doctor," and Eccleston's Doctor always came across to me as actions would define a lot of what he thought and what he did.
Yeah, but hold on. He forgets all of these events. So when he regenerates into the 9th Doctor, he is the Doctor, but he doesn't know what happened in the past events. He doesn't.
Yeah.
But he
knows he
remembers the
hit the
Time
button.
War.
He knows he hit the button.
Yeah, he knows the Time War, and he knows what he did. He just obviously doesn't have the memory of this story.
That's right, Sadako. He calls himself the Doctor, but when did he do it? Because remember, he dropped the moniker as the War Doctor. So between War and 9, he had to pick it up somewhere. I have a theory if we have time.
Yeah, so basically when pre-series 1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cheating. Actually, if it's okay if I can throw it in here.
Go for it, man. You have a theory, go. That's what the channel's all about. Tell us your theory.
Sure, no problem.
And then if it's crap, but hold on though. If it's crap, I'm gonna come out and say it's crap. So it better be watertight, Christian. Better be watertight.
Okay, here we go.
Right, go on.
The answer is actually in Rose, and maybe we didn't even address it too well. And I've actually brought it on my show. Right. Clive, I think that was the gentleman that Rose visits.
Yeah, the guy who had all the pictures.
The fella in the shed, the conspiracy theorist fella.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you notice where he catches the 9th Doctor, it's every moment in history where something monumentally tragic happens. The Titanic sinking, Krakatoa erupting, and the JFK assassination. Right. And if you notice that he even at that time he did a Fires of Pompeii moment. He saved a family off the Titanic. And
the Daniels family.
I think during this time, after he pushed that button and blew it up, this is my theory. I think he was looking at Earth from its most tragic points and trying to get a handle in the moment to try to understand what he just did. Actually, and he's looking at Earth's most tragic moments when the world had changed, when time had stood still, and he was trying to compensate for the moment that he wiped out the Daleks and his people and pretty much did some damage to the universe. So that's my theory on that. And I think somewhere along the way, he, like the 11th Doctor, said, I got to pick up the moniker again. I understand what I did. I know what happened, and I'm looking through these moments of tragedy to try to find some handle on the moment itself. And I think
Or
somewhere
maybe it
along
was those tragedies that triggered him wanting to be the Doctor again
Yeah.
because he's seen
Exactly.
them and
Yeah.
seen the effect
Exactly, and
that
I
it
think,
had. Yeah,
and I could even debate that the moment that he saved, quote, and this is Clive, he saved that family from the Titanic. I think at some point he picked up the moniker again and said, listen, I know what I've done under the name of the Doctor, but I'm going to pick up the moniker and make sure that it never happens again. Now he's PSTD Doctor. If you see him, he's very gruff. He's very no nonsense. He's very straightforward. The second chance sort of man that the 10th Doctor was supposed to be, that was the 9th Doctor.
you're right. And then when he
Yeah.
meets Rose, then that's the final connection that he needs to make towards humanity for him then to make that complete transition as you're talking about. I actually think that's a very good theory. And I think you're right. Maybe that's what was the whole point of that scene with Clive and Rose when Rose went in. Maybe that was RTD's way of explaining.
Because in the next episode, where does he take Rose? To the end of her world.
I don't like it.
He takes her to the end of her world to get an understanding of what he did.
Exactly.
Well, yeah,
so that makes sense.
Because for me, watching how the Doctor sees Earth in the new run compared to the classic run, I've always got a vibe that Earth is almost his redo of Gallifrey.
Yeah.
And that's why he's such a he always especially like I said in the modern one, for me you can see an increased protection, an increased want to defend it versus classic, where he will defend it and he will help people, but he's not so much in classic seeing himself as the guardian of Earth, whereas in New Who you fully see that aspect of it's my planet, get off.
He always talks about how great the human race are and what they can achieve as well when he's defeating enemies. Like you could tell, he's there.
He's really, you can see that love and protection, and that, like I said, for me, that's what I've always seen Earth as through the Doctor's eyes. It's a redo. It's his new home.
Right.
Sure, that scene in 11th Hour where he's talking to the Atraxi up on the roof.
Yeah.
And he goes, are the humans a threat? Are the people on this planet a threat? And then he goes, like, scan, and then you see all the images of the Doctor protecting the Earth, and then he just says, basically, run. That's... I've always seen, that's what I mean, in New Who especially, I've always seen the Doctor as Earth's protector. That's why he's the president of the world. Like, that's why Moffat gave him that title in the end. He is. That's what he is now.
But Charlotte, if you remember something at the end of the world, which was, I think, the most critical moment, and believe it or not, it was the simplest moment of it all. Right when they walk out,
like that parallel between the weapon that will destroy London to save the world is like the moment that the Doctor had himself.
Yeah.
Right. But the moment that they walk out of the TARDIS and he's explaining to her everything's going to be gone, the concrete, everything, but there was the moment where she goes, "Do you smell chips?"
Yeah, and it's just that little thing of life. That's
right, and it
like,
all brought it back, and it was like, wait a minute, we're in the middle of the street right now, and everything else doesn't matter. Let's go get something to eat. We'll worry about it when it comes.
I think Russell was trying to say in that moment, you enjoy the little things. You enjoy what you have because it's not going to last. And with the Doctor's, obviously, you put the Time War in the Doctor's head with that thought, and it's so apparent.
Yeah.
Just like this moment coming up when you can just see it's like they've got this chance to save Gallifrey, and they're just going for it because they're just like, no, we've got this chance, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've had the line. I love Matt's line. I don't know if it's gone or it's to come yet. When he says, "Well, you've got hope, and that's what matters," or he says something like, "You've got hope."
What's a punetta? Melina's line. She said, "No, let him talk punetta." I don't know what that is.
Oh, it maybe brother or friend or something like that.
Oh, you're gonna make me.
It was deadlocked.
Google.
Only niggle.
Oh, here's
Oh,
one of my
never mind.
favorites.
It wasn't good, and I can't say it. I just googled it.
Oh, we never do that with Melina.
Oh yeah,
She's
she's slagging me off in the yoke. She's getting quite feisty towards me lately. I've noticed. Yeah, I'll have to start putting her in her place now. You know, she's getting a bit too big for our boots.
Yeah. Here's the hero walk moment.
That's her superhero moment. That was brilliant. Well, it might have been wrong, but like to kind of deny that it wasn't justified. It was either destroy Scarrow, Gallifrey, and whatever, or have the universe overrun with Daleks, and the whole universe is basically stripped. Yeah, you could just see how much John Hurt was actually enjoying this.
Yeah, with that smile he just had.
Haha, with 5 seconds to go. Our planet does look beautiful, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They always make it look lovely.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a little flatter
No,
from what
she's
I
the
hear
real
from
one because she's got the inhaler.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, have you figured out which Osgood is the real Osgood? Which
Yeah, the one who
Osgood
has
is
the inhaler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
she
the
picks it up
Zygon
in the
wouldn't
lift.
need it. Yeah, the Zygon wouldn't have asthma, would it?
No,
No.
but it picks up the
Alright.
defect.
No, they're supposed to be a
That's-
duplicate. So everything that's
Hmm.
wrong with, well, I wouldn't say what's wrong, but any like issues that
Yeah.
They have, then the Zygon would have as
Oh,
well.
I
Yeah,
thought, right.
yeah, that's it. They
Oh,
they
but-
do
yeah,
that's the real
exactly.
Psychosomatic, isn't it?
The real Osgood picked up the inhaler when she slipped up the Zygon with a scarf and then grabbed the inhaler.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that was the one.
Zygon didn't realise it needed it.
Oh, that's it then, right. So it would copy it technically, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't understand an inhaler, right.
Yeah. And the peacemakers are in the background. So peacekeepers.
And this is why I do like Clara, because in
Yeah.
moments like this is
Yeah.
where the Clara character actually pulled through and did. It's just Moffat just didn't know what to do with our character, like, and
The
we
next
did get the
season.
Impossible Girl crap, but I mean,
Yeah.
she
The
should have
Predator
never
next
been
season.
all of that.
I think
This
she should have left after Matt Smith. She was a companion to Matt Smith. She
Yeah.
was really not a companion to Capaldi.
She's
In
brilliant,
fairness, though, right, they did keep her on, but she should have actually left with what was it, Face of the Raven, that
Yeah.
episode
Yeah.
where she actually died. That's where that would have been the perfect send off for her character. Yes, it was traumatic. Yes, the doctor was gutted, but that was, I have to admit, I think that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Would have been perfect. And then to see the doctor then unhinged for the next few episodes, then because we did get to see an unhinged doctor in Heaven Sent, like, and Hell.
See, I disagree on that one just because I think she should have
Melina
left
not
it last Christmas because it made me hate her when she ran back into the TARDIS. I said, you ended up killing Danny Pink. It was your choice of living the doctor's life
Yep.
that ended up in his
Yeah.
death. And if you really loved him, you wouldn't want to obtain this. And I thought that
Yeah.
scene where she stays in the sleigh, she was rethinking this. She was rethinking everything that she was doing because at one point she was blaming herself. That's why I think she was kind of, I wouldn't say in a suicidal case, but like, I screwed up. So when I thought that she was going to be, aged Claire, I thought, okay, well, that's going to be it. She's going to live out. But no, when she ran away with the doctor, I'm just like, you didn't learn a thing. You really didn't love Danny.
I love the music coming up in a minute.
This is it now. This is the scene coming up now where the other doctors appear to tell him to not press the button. This was what. Do you know what? This moment, I was in the cinema when this scene came up and this moment came up. The cinema just went completely quiet. You couldn't hear a pin drop. And then there was when we realized they weren't going to do it. Then there was a big cheer. And I hate cheering in the cinema. I don't cheer personally myself, and I hate people that do that and overreact and shit. But for the 50th, I didn't even mind. I have to be honest. That was a great moment.
I think though this is such a good moment because you see the War Doctor accept and him be happy and have peace.
Yeah.
But what I love about it is the way it's written. When the other doctors come, that's not taken away from the War Doctor. He still has that, but it's just he's more. It's more actually. No, now I think about it, it's the fact that he's got peace, and finally the future doctors have peace with what they did. So it's more of an encompassing theme then, which works lovely.
And the fact that he's still going to do it by himself, you know?
Yeah.
Melina hates me now.
That's it. I'm leaving the TARDIS team because you're a grumpy, mad Irishman. All right. Well, it's actually the TARDIS zone, but thank you for that. You can't even get my name right. That's it. You're blacklisted now.
I love this.
I avoid Twitter for things like this.
Clever man.
Facebook.
Here it is. This is me saying.
Oh yeah, when you see the kids in a minute, this gets me teary whenever I watch it.
But this is why, again, I like Clara. This is the moment where Clara steps up because she gives the Matt Smith's doctor that look.
Those big sad eyes.
Shut up when Peter comes on, you mean eyebrows? Yeah. By the way, we're on Peter Capaldi's. We'll be starting Peter Capaldi's era 2 weeks from now because this is the last official episode of Smith, isn't it?
No, there's one more time.
That one.
Time next week, so I'm going to be in absolute fits.
And then we do Peter.
Sorry. If I spend half of next stream muted, folks, you can guess why.
So we're doing it next week, not in a fortnight's time.
Oh no, sorry. I meant 2 weeks' time. My brain still needs to get used to that.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about Time of the Doctor. Sorry.
Yeah.
For some weird reason.
One of those deep breaths.
Because it's this one. This is the one that we and the Name of the Doctor. They're the two that I really enjoyed. I can't even remember what Time of the Doctor is about, to be quite bleeding honest.
Right, just a swan song.
The only thing to remember about Time of the Doctor was Orla Bradley. Everything else can forget it.
It's Moffat trying to wrap everything up, but not wrapping up very well.
Yeah.
It's Time with the Doctor when Matt Smith actually becomes the old man he always was on the inside. I think
it's always about the Alliance, but he doesn't mention it's about the Alliance. The very first season.
The warrior, the hero, and you.
Oh, Clara.
I kind of think of Time of the Doctor as in this. There was a movie, I can't remember the name of it. It starred Steve Martin as a one of those traveling televangelists. He goes from town to town trying to, swindle people of their money being a televangelist. One of the running jokes about the whole thing is that they challenged his team would challenge him with words. He had to say something during his sermon, like aluminum siding or something of that nature. And I see Time of the Doctor as that in this retrospect. that Moffat was probably told or written out some weird things like, silence will fall and all these things. And at the very end, he had to figure out how to put all this together. It was Christmas. It was Christmas, and the question will be asked and all that. And then he had to wrap it up and go, I don't know how to do this. So I'll try my best. It does seem like a kerfluffle that he had to put aluminum siding in there for a better analogy on this one. It was just like, okay, I think you wrote yourself into a corner, and now that you got to figure out now all this has to make sense in one episode, and it didn't really pay off as well.
This is it.
Yeah.
And RTD, if you're coming back, please bring back Orla Bradley when she's done with Picard. I do want to see Tasha Lim back.
Yeah.
Their faces now when they're like, yes, we can do it. This is my. I remember watching this the first time. This was my punch the air moment because you can see
the
it.
Music. That's
the music. It's like go in their reactions. You just think, yes, we're going to do it. We're going to save Gallifrey.
Attack brows, Melina.
That is the 11th Doctor's. Sorry, the 12th Doctor's theme.
I love this scene though, where they all get the tingle.
PD, this is like a mishmash. If you listen to the whole music in this little bit, there's Matt's theme at one point, there's 12's theme, there's even a bit of
it's a good
ballet. I can never say it, the Latin that Tennant had when he was leaving, his music.
Yeah.
And for my next trick.
Yeah. Just realised that. It's the Shepherd Boy.
I think I listened to it not so long ago on the soundtrack. It's got a slightly different title, but it is the Shepherd Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I were there, you all be deaf.
Moffat does this, then he brings back Gallifrey, then for Chris Chibnall to come back and utterly not just destroy Gallifrey, but to destroy the whole universe as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Time Lords, if you think about it.
Oh yeah, the Time Lords, and now we have Cyber Lords with dead
That's what
Time
I meant.
Lords. Yeah. Funny, great.
Oh, I love this. It's like, there's 3 of them.
I'm going to cry. No.
Where are we right now? Just
we're at the scene now where they're all appearing,
they
where the
screw it up,
Doctors
the
are
less
all about
canonical
to
it
appear.
gets.
All the separate Doctors are in the TARDISes, and they're just all about
Cameron,
to
don't
save
feel the feeling.
Gallifrey.
all right. For Melina, a moment of silence for attack brows.
Yeah.
Oh, here's
Please
the line
start
coming
having
up, Matt's line
lockdown.
that I love.
Yeah.
I do like John Hurt's TARDIS.
Yeah. This thing is TARDIS, but neater.
Chris, if you were in America, it would be all the commercial breaks you had to sit through and watch.
Oh,
That was painstaking.
but you're glad you got the DVD and Blu-ray version.
Only if Matt's TARDIS had the roundels, I mean, it would have set it off.
That's it. You would have hope, and right now is exactly what you need. And I love that. That's sort of if there's a line I adore of Matt's, there's plenty, but that's one of them.
But safe. There's the line, you would have hope.
No, sir. All 13.
See, I do think this was clever. I
Calculations.
do think this was clever because they were never going to get all the classic Doctors there. So to do it this way, so they're technically.
Here we go.
Yeah, for some weird reason, this is starting to fucking pause on me now. Stop, dude. Stop buffing. No.
I'm just curious, Charlotte, do you think it would have been better if they were bantering with each other and just use their voices? Because they were taking clips from episodes that they were on.
Yeah,
But what
like
if they truly had banter between each other, like Sylvester and Colin?
Yeah.
I think that would have been lovely if they would have like recorded audio lines
Yes.
and like they
Yeah.
overlay it on
Alan
stuff.
Z.
But I just think with Moffat, if he would have had another go at this, I do think he would have tried to incorporate the classic stuff better.
Yeah.
It was just such a rush.
Yeah, but
And he
that
tried.
scene had to be go because
Yeah.
right now that was the scene,
Yeah.
and I don't know if we had time for them to banter with each other. But I
No,
would have
yeah,
loved
that's
to
my
see-
point. I think if Moffat would have had like another go with more time, he probably would have had them bantering,
Gotcha.
and he probably would have had
Yeah.
some audio recorded for the
Not the
Doctors he
living
could
Doctors
get
do
away
audio,
with.
yeah.
Well, you did have extras. I think we should have the bantering version, the extended bantering when they're fighting with
Yeah.
each other.
Just
That would
have,
be
like,
awesome. Yes.
Peter David just have the Fifth Doctor uncharacteristically be sarky with Colin Baker's Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, we could have some rudeness like 13 shows. I'm like, who the hell are you? Get out of here.
Oh, don't come on! You know that's going to be a fan edit at some point when the 60th rolls around.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Geronimo!
Giving a really bad look on him, that horrible look.
John Hurt's one is my favourite, though. For God's sake,
Yeah.
Gallifrey stands. Yeah, he did, sadly, Melina, but look, forget about it because RTD is coming back and that's all that matters. And he will do Doctor
He
Who
might get
justice
another
again.
pop. He might get another pop in the 60th.
Well, that's the thing. He's coming back with the biggest excuse to do so much fixing in the 60th.
Yeah.
Oh, the fan service is going to be off
That's
the
what I
charts.
mean.
It's going to be extreme.
He's got the excuse to go, if you thought this was good for fan service, Russell's going to times it by 10.
Yeah.
For the 60th.
I'm not. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I hope you are all right. I hope my
so do I.
neuroses of like this can go further south. You know, oh, this can't get any worse. Wow, it can get worse.
But I don't think it can.
Saloon, you know, it's got to happen or it's
That's
finished.
it.
You know.
I mean, if RTD, the man that brought it back in 2005, can't successfully make this a success again, right? When he did back in 2005, brought it back as rebuilt, and look how successful it became. If he can't do it, then you're right. There's no hope. There's no hope. He is the last chance saloon. He is the last hope for this TV show. Because if it does go south,
coming up in a minute.
Yeah.
I know. But if it does go south, that's it. Christian's right. It's game over for this show. This show is never coming back. It's done. It'll go on hiatus again, and we mightn't see it. Maybe in our lifetime, we might be lucky. Hopefully.
The thing is, problem is that I think if I remember one documentary or one interview that RTD had, he was given the option to say, okay, Christopher Eccleston's now the first Doctor, but he understood that he needed the classic to bring back Who. If he was going to bring it, he just couldn't reboot it. He needed the classic Whovians back. And with the support and love that he had to bring in, you know, classic stuff and try to bring it into the new light, you know, that's where I feel that there is some kind of, you know, I'm hoping he returns to that's where Chibnall went wrong, especially with this first season. He wasn't going to go back through the old stuff. He wasn't going to use it. And I said, wait a minute, you have a treasure trove of 50 years just sitting in a corner doing nothing. And you can always bring it back. And that's what I loved about what RTD and Moffat did. You can bring the Daleks with the Dash in Nevada. You can bring the Cybermen with the Ood. You can bring in the Centaurans with the Weeping Angels. You can mix them up and bring in not only the old stuff to bring in and give it a new light, but you can get the new stuff in there and mix it up and recycle them and come up with new stuff. But when Chibnall decided, oh, I'm not going to do any of that, it's like you have this beautiful treasure chest, but you decided to walk away to find another treasure chest that was just full of crap.
Yeah.
So
right, here we go. It's coming up. It's coming up.
I'm turning off my microphone.
He's talking to Smith. He's talking to Smith now. Oh, he's talking to Tennant's Doctor Force, telling him about Translator. Here we go.
No, you're behind.
Yeah, I had to because it was buffing. It was buffing. Use the sonic screwdriver during the Tom Baker scene. The fact that you'd even say that is bad. That is one of my favourite scenes, and you want people to ruin it. Well, I'm a couple of seconds behind. How did I get so far behind?
God knows.
Right, Clara's just kissed Matt Smith's doctor.
But now you're spoiling it for us.
Send.
It's like as if Tom Baker never left Dr. Hillman with that scene.
Yeah.
It was just so perfect. And just the way he casually walks off.
Another Murray Gold remix they never put on the soundtrack.
There's a lot of Murray Gold music that they never put on the soundtrack.
No, I reckon
I
it-
don't understand that.
I reckon
Yeah.
it's because of the thingy estate, the Grainer estate. They kept missing it out on purpose. Save money.
Oh, there they all are lining up.
Yeah.
And they're completely not at all, you can tell, fake
Yeah.
dolls, or whatever you'd refer to them as.
Of course, they did their best to try and make them.
Oh yeah, you do sort of laugh about it now, though.
But then
You've
we
got,
get the real faces.
Tom Baker standing there with a Richter smile on, you know, standing there with all the dots standing there looking like they're just cardboard cutouts.
At least he didn't call you a piss drink this time.
They should have used the series 4 theme. That's my favorite New Who theme. Is the David Tennant one.
Yeah.
Anyway, from the new series, I should say, not from the.
Oh no, I like and it was only for one episode, which was the Capaldi guitar theme.
Oh, the electric guitar. They never put on the
I was like,
soundtrack.
that should. I thought that was going to stay throughout his run, and then they went back to the old stuff. I'm like, oh god, what is that?
I just
They
hate
didn't put it on the soundtrack.
I hate
Yeah,
the
wasn't-
OOU on that. It's
Oh, the Strangled Cat version, as I refer to it as.
noise.
Yeah. And then
It's
he
funny.
did
I
that one with the
think
electric guitar.
Murray Gold's themes got worse as they went along, but his scores were better for me anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get straight into it, and we'll start with ladies first with Queen Charlotte. So, Charlotte, obviously, give us your thoughts on what you've just watched and give it a rating out of 10.
Yeah, I just adore the 50th because for me, I love. People probably noticed by now. For me, character development, addressing the thread of the Time War, and all the development and all the little arguments and the meaningful arguments you see between the Doctors. That's the thing I love most when this show does it right. And the 50th was just chocked full of that. It gave the Time War its proper time. It fully showed how the Doctor had to go through stages to get over it, and how having those different stages as almost representations with the Doctors against each other meant you got such really riveting and interesting conversations. I actually quite liked how the Zygons were used because they didn't they were there obviously to be the villains, to be the force to fight against, but they didn't overshadow, like I said, the Time War stuff, which was, I think, equal stage and needed to be there. I really like the designs as well for the Zygons. I think it's one of the really good redesigns they've done in New Who. I actually, at first when I heard Billie Piper, I was like, oh god, no, I don't want Rose. I was fed up of Rose at that point. So I was quite happy she played a different character. And I think the moment's a really interesting thing to have in there as this sort of conscience, to be this sort of instigator of stuff. And like I said, I just adore the fan service. I think this is fan service done right because it solves the issue of all the TARDISes at the end, and the idea of the screwdriver having hundreds and hundreds of years working out the same issue. And that's also like a bit of a representation of the Doctor then being hundreds and hundreds of years old. The idea of the face being like the casing, but it's still the same thing underneath. And the fact that Gallifrey got restored, and that the Doctor had this new lease on life, and he had this new goal. And I think the Doctor needed something new to strive for, and the 50th gave him that. So I'm going to give this a 10 because I just adore it.
Fantastic. We'll go with Real Super Doctor.
I would give this a 50 out of 10. It is really one of my favourite episodes. I really loved the fact that the Doctor was just like, you know, it was like a kind of guilt trip because of what he was about to do in that, and the moment there was there to kind of, you know, convince him that not to do this, not to kind of destroy Gallifrey, and then in the end that they kind of worked out how to save Gallifrey, save it in a pocket universe, which I think is quite good. But it wraps the story up nicely. I do like the scenes in London. I like the TARDIS being kind of caught and lifted into Trafalgar Square, and I love the museum, the art museum, and that, and I love the fact that it was the painting that connected all the time zones together through Gallifrey and that, and all the different aspects of Gallifrey being destroyed in that. Through the Time War, and the Doctor getting flashbacks of his incarnation that he was trying to deeply hide inside, and it was emerging and all that. And when everything all came together, and when the the three Doctors kind of met together. And I mean, it was good that John Hurt was playing off Matt Smith and David Tennant. I quite enjoyed these scenes. I quite like the special effects in this one. I like the Dalek ships. I like the destruction of Gallifrey. I mean, all in this story in the few seconds that it was shown, that in the few minutes, it was telling a big thing about the Time War and how Gallifrey was being destroyed like that, and the Daleks and that. I quite like the three TARDISes as well as the Hurt's TARDIS. I love the interior of the Hurt's TARDIS and and then the comment that the 10th Doctor says, oh, he likes the roundels and all that. You know, it's just like a complete throwback to the past. I think this episode could have been better if they did get David Bradley as the first Doctor, you know, just to kind of throw in the mix. With the first Doctor, but I said early on about the moment would have been better if it wasn't Billy Piper, if it was Carol Ann Ford, you know, just to kind of play off the emotions on the War Doctor, because it would have convinced them more, and I think it would have worked a little bit more because you know, the Doctor does think a lot about Susan, even throughout his lives. As you can see later on in Series 10, where he's got a photograph of her in his desk in that college. Yeah, I quite enjoyed the acting. The acting was very good from David Tennant. I loved the Zygon and the Queen Elizabeth, the first scenes. I thought that was very funny. I liked the idea that it was coming out the TARDIS and horseback and that, and you know, such simple things like that. But when I saw the location shooting, and somebody uploaded it to YouTube years and years ago. When I had saw that, I always thought that they were going to try and get another doctor in there, like a classic doctor in there to kind of run past them and that. Imagine if it was Tom Baker's Doctor kind of running past David Tennant, you know, or some other Doctor and that, like that. But I believe that they could have done more for the 50th. I believe that they could have had more kind of throwbacks to like Unearthly Child and the beginning of why the Doctor ran away from Gallifrey in the first place, which could really lead up to him kind of you know, it would have made it a bit kind of, you know, or maybe they're going to leave that to the 60th. I don't know. But what I liked was they had the title music for the beginning, the original title sequence. They had brought it up to HD and kind of woven it in, and it looks really, really good. So does the music, and it kind of fits in with the scene. But I would have thought it would have been better if Christopher Eccleston would have been in it, you know. But as the Hurt Doctors there, it kind of makes a bit more sense, because what kind of leads to the Eccleston incarnation, maybe kind of you know, that he's feeling the full brunt to the blame of the Time War, that it still kind of lingers in with him, because the War Doctor's encounter with the other Doctors and the fact that his memory will be wiped to that event, that his encounter with his previous incarnations will cease to exist, and like he'll forget about that the moment he regenerates and that. But they could have done something else with that regeneration. I mean, they could have had Christopher Eccleston's like more of his appearance of the morphing from Into the War Doctor, but we really, really don't know what will happen after that. and I think that just leaves it to the imagination of what was going to happen next. But and also the fact that Paul McGann wasn't in it was quite annoying. That it was just like a kind of wee cutaway scene for just like a kind of a wee kind of wee mini episode, and it was just in I think it was the red button in the Freeview, and that was all it was. But I kind of really feel sad for that, because when I watched the Freeview the episode, the Night of the Doctor, and I couldn't believe how good Paul McGann's performances as the Doctor was, as he was, because I mean that was probably, probably what was missing from New Who was Paul McGann. Because Paul McGann would have just kind of fitted that kind of, that kind of gap as Moffat was doing his best to kind of try and make up for that for the 50th and that, and he'd done extremely well, but it would have been better if it all came together for the 50th episode with all the Doctors together, and and just kind of made up for that. But and even the trailer was kind of a wee bit, I would say it was a bit misleading, because they had actual people kind of dressed up as the Doctor, but they had kind of, I think it was a kind of CGI thing, kind of montage as the Doctor was falling, and you could see Sarah Jane in it and all
Oh
of
yeah,
that.
that was a trailer. That was a brilliant
Yeah, that
trailer.
was a
they
trailer.
had.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really good, but it was very misleading, because I was before I saw the 50th anniversary, I was really expecting something of that. It was like, it was getting me all hyped up for this, and I can remember when it was due to be shown in the Odeon cinema, and I went up to the cinema, and I walked in, and I asked the fellow about Doctor Who, the Day of the Doctor. He says, "Oh, it's there's a lot of people coming for it," and I thought, nah, and no, because I could just watch it at home, because it was on around about the same time. So I just watched at home. I didn't watch at the cinema, because I just felt that maybe it would just kind of disrupt my enjoyment of the episode. People shouting and crying and cheering and all that.
It added to it. I loved it.
Yeah. But
It's a shared experience.
when I saw that, I saw it at home, and I was completely taken in by it, and completely happy by it, and that, and slightly disappointed that no other classic Doctors were really actually in it. It was just footage and that. But when I saw Tom Baker in the first line, I do think you might, and I just the tears just rolled down my face.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just like, oh, what if that's Tom's last appearances in Doctor Who? What if that's what if he never gets that chance again? It's maybe what if he passes away after that? And I mean, I was really left in tears.
Yeah.
And
well, he's still around. He's still around.
Glad he's still around.
Yeah.
And he's still playing the Doctor in the Big Finish audios.
Yeah,
and
true.
He's still doing well. It's good to see, but. Yeah, as I said, I gave it a 50 out of 10.
No problem. We'll go with Christian next.
I think Tom Baker and William Shatner live off the blood of politicians and virgins. That's how they're supposed to be. Because if William Shatner, age 90, can be launched into space, I'm like, I'm really doing something wrong with my life.
Yeah.
I'm really doing.
I've not passed the physical.
And I get the fact that because the guys are hideous looking and Queen Charlotte looks gorgeous all the time, that's why she's the only one who has her mug right up there. I totally agree. I'm not putting my face on there. Some things with Real Super that I agree with. Some things a little bit to the side. I think what you're looking into more real is what we could have had, and I'm looking for perspective what he had. Because if we give Moffat all the props as far as what he only had, I got to give him real props for creativity, for thinking
Yeah.
outside the box, pun intended. Yes, everything I have is a pun intended. If I can get a joke out of it, it will always be a pun intended. I think he did superbly well to bring in the war doctor. John Hurt is a Doctor Who. Can we get just all appreciate that for one bleeding second?
Yeah,
he's a
I know.
doctor?
Legend
I
that
just-
was in the
Yeah.
Alien franchise.
I just
brilliant.
remember somebody had told me, and I don't know if this is true or not. There was one day that John Hurt walked into the office of Stephen Moffat, and John had a question for him, and John goes, "Am I a doctor?" And Stephen Moffat's going, John, yes, you are a doctor. And his grin just like exploded on his face because he is a doctor. He will always be it no matter what happens in our lifetime. He, for a brief moment, even if it's in Big Finish, even if it was just for the 50th anniversary, John Hurt, he's an Academy Award winning actor, right?
Yeah.
Was Doctor Who. And he loved that moment. He was, we would have killed to be John Hurt in that role. And the magnitude of this man being a doctor for about 10-15 minutes on TV, that is just a wonderful
Academy Award
thing.
nominated for Elephant Man.
What's that?
Nominated Best Actor for
Best
Elephant
actor
Man.
for Elephant Man. Thank you, PB.
Yeah.
But it's, for what we got, it was everything that was great about not only classic Who, but just Doctor Who in general. When I mentioned we had tears of laughing our butts off because we were talking about the rabbit. You're just a rabbit, aren't you? Thinking it's an alien. I mean, all these little things, all these little quirks that make Doctor Who the wonder that it is. And then the next minute you're crying tears of pain because here's the Doctor fighting with himself inside, the Tower of London, and watching that debate, and just you can feel the core of him being challenged. And who's the moral compass of it? The war doctor sitting there, the one that they're trying to ignore, the one they're berating, the one that make feel bad because he had to make the decision. They couldn't. And they actually had the courtesy of his persona to be the one to make the decision because they know right away, 10 and 11 know. They don't know that they could have made the decision themselves. But at the very end, they go, you were the doctor the moment that nobody else could have done it. And they gave him kudos. And not only that, they put their hands on the button because they had rethought everything that he did. Because he was the moral compass at that moment. He was the right answer at that time. Maybe it wasn't the correct answer, but it was the right thing to do at that moment. And then Clara, I'll give Melina her due on that one so she can stop razzing me. I noticed that Melina is now rating people instead of the episode on the chat there. But yeah, she gave me an 8. No, you got a negative number. Sorry.
She's used to it by now.
Yeah, this is why I think Claire's companion, she was more of the companion for the Matt Smith Doctor than the Peter Capaldi, because this is where she is the impossible girl. At that brief moment, at that brief time when he could not be himself, she reminded him that he had to be, just be the Doctor. And that's when he came up with that moment of thinking, you know what, we always change time. Why not this one? And just having that brilliant, like I said, Charlotte, everybody says, we can't have fan service. Well, we had an incredible fan service at the end. We could all easily be the Monday back quarterbacks and say, it could have been this, it could have been that. I think it was, for what it was worth, what they could have done at that time. Tom Baker was the cherry on top of a huge, beautiful cake, and we just ate it so nicely. And to let people know, if you ever want to have a fun experience watching a Disney movie, go watch the movie when you see it with cast members who work at the theme park. If you're going to have a wonderful experience watching a Doctor Who episode, go see it with Whovians. I might contradict that, because the whole time I was watching it with a bunch of Whovians we were at a bar. They just could not stop talking. I couldn't even hear what was going on or what was being. I had to wait until I got home, rewind the DVR, and watch it again so I could hear what was happening. And it, I didn't care. Here was my fan service. This is the payoff from me being a Whovian all the way up in the 1980s when I grew up with PBS. Here was the payoff. And Stephen Moffat for all the tragedies that Christopher Eccleston couldn't be there, for whatever budget that he had, for the classic doctors, they don't look like they did back then. I think he put everything together the way it was and was the way it's package. And of course, I say on my show, I never really give a show a 10, but for what it was worth at that moment and everything they got, this is the episode that I have sitting next to my TV that I have as a DVD. And I watch it over and over and again. When I'm having a bad day, when I just want to have some fun, I watch this episode. Now, for me, in my top 5, PD is also The Talons of Wang Chiang, and I'm Asian, and I'm cool with that. It's one of my favorite episodes. What does that say about me? But this is an episode.
You have good taste. That's what it says about you. All of this fake outrage about certain classic Doctor Who episodes is exactly that. It's fake outrage. They are of their time. And if you watch it in that context, then, and as you said yourself, you're an Asian man and you're not offended or insulted by it. Well, so at the end of the day, that's all that should matter. All of these other people that are coming out, talking on your behalf when you've already come out and basically said that you've no problem with it. It's those
what
people
what it proves is taking offense is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And
well,
for an
when
Asian
I grew up,
person to not take offense at that proves.
I understand what people
say. It takes a level of maturity. Sorry, go.
No. When I was growing up, I didn't really have a hero, and Christopher Reeve didn't look like me. Linda Carter, if she looked like me, I would not be here. But I saw what I saw, and the person that I related to the most, the superhero, for what you said, the thing that I could relate to was this 40-year-old alien, or a man who was an alien with floppy hair, incredibly great teeth, a weird hat, and a scarf, walking around with his 2 companions from a blue box. And that was the hero that I could relate with. And when I grew up, I couldn't tell my friends that. Today, I see kids wearing fezzes. I see them with, pinstripe suits. I see them with trainers. I see them, they get to be the childhood I couldn't be during my time, because I did it once. I actually went into my school dressed up as the 4th Doctor with the outfit that I really had. And a couple people just laughed at me, and I put it in a closet, never did it again. And I never want a kid today to feel that way. And I'm glad when I go to these conventions.
Same thing happened to me when I dressed up as Sylvester McCoy at my high school on the school fete. I got into a lot of shit for that. But, I didn't.
We're getting our asses kicked. And for being us.
Yeah, they don't understand that these days, because, for all intents and purposes, it was anathema to like Doctor Who back then.
Right. And this is when you say, Noel, it's just like these kids and these folks who are in today don't have the hindsight of what was going on. Was it bad that somebody was dressing up as, a Chinese man as a white guy? Sure. Yeah, that was 1970 something. You're really going to penalize?
Yeah.
They couldn't go on their Twitter accounts on their, on their cell phones.
It wasn't exactly a dearth of Asian actors available in the 1970s.
Exactly, that's the big thing. Problem being, it's
they had a few, but this was what was during the time. If we're really going to go back, remember during the time that they were discovering, America came to its fruition, we were still crapping in outhouses and churning butter. So I'm like, at what point does this is what it was back then? But we don't repeat it today. Now, if they have an Asian man and the Talons of Wang Chiang come back and they put an Asian man in there and they put somebody else, I'm like, I might have an issue. But I'm like, still, I found Tom Baker to be the person, as far as his character, that I could relate to. That was my hero. That was my person. And he didn't look like me.
Yeah.
But he felt like me. I felt within him, because when I was a kid, it wasn't sports, it wasn't Transformers, it wasn't G.I. Joe, it wasn't even DC or Marvel. It was a guy on PBS every Saturday night who I could relate to and have some fun with, but I couldn't tell my friends about him because it was me. But I could escape and have a great time. Because for me, in my own world, I always, I've always been quick-witted, and I always thought, hey, I'm a little smart, and that's how I saw myself in that character. Didn't pick up a gun, was always one step ahead of people.
Has always, well, I say always until recently, has always been a hero for bright children. For children who are interested in science.
That's right, Gavi.
Who are creative or who do think quick, and that shouldn't be something shameful or exclusive. That's aspirational. I think the Doctor should be an aspirational figure, not just someone off the street.
It doesn't even matter who's in the role. For me, well, I know for some people, I meant it doesn't matter what like it's say, well, this person has this distinct feature, and I'm like, my first question is, can they act? Do they have seen Doctor Who? Do they know what the character's like? Those are the questions that I'm asking.
And is it a man? Because I don't want another woman in the role, and I'm going to say it out straight, and I don't care if it comes across as sexist to all you other little muppets out there. The Doctor being a woman, the experiment failed. Now, it's not all down to Jodie Whittaker. I will say that. It's not all down to her. It's down to the showrunner. That's Chris Chibnall. But in saying that, she was given the role to play the Doctor, and she didn't play the role the way it was supposed to be played. And also, she did not do the research. Now, listen, nobody on this panel is saying that the person cast for the role has to be a fan of Doctor Who. No. But what I at least expect from an actor that gets a role as important as this is to go and do the necessary research. Go and watch a few classic Doctors. Go and watch a few New Who Doctors. And then try and bring your own interpretation, your own personality, your own traits to the character. She did none of that. She did it after the fact when it was too late. And then on top of that, she went and she said things that she shouldn't have said about fans. In fairness, she shouldn't have gone into those petty games. Fair enough, she didn't like the fact that people didn't like her casting. I'm sorry, love, you're not the only Doctor that people didn't like the casting of, because I remember at the time Peter Capaldi's casting, there was a lot of people that didn't think he'd work. Same with Matt Smith. I was one of them. I thought he was actually too young to take the role at the time. I didn't like David Tennant originally when he was cast. The only New Who Doctor that I was actually all right with and comfortable with that we got was, well, two of them was actually Eccleston and Capaldi for me, right? But the others had to convince me. Tennant had to convince me, but he did. Matt Smith had to convince me, but Matt Smith only took one episode to convince me. David Tennant, yes, after the Christmas invasion, I was pretty much convinced, but it was really the next episode after that where I thought, yes, he is the Doctor. Jodie Whittaker in 3 series now, and the specials that she has, still has not convinced me that she's the Doctor. And that's down to her. It doesn't matter how badly she's written. If she was a decent Doctor, if she acted the role well, then we wouldn't be complaining about her. We'd be complaining about how bad the writing is. But she's done herself no favours. And I think she has room for another woman to come straight in and take over. So for me, I'm going to say the next casting, the 14th Doctor has to be a man. If he goes with a woman, yes, it's RTD and people think he'll handle it a lot better. But I think that's the final nail in the coffin. You're not going to bring those fans back that have walked away, because we do have a female Doctor. We had a female Doctor. The way she was promoted, the way her fans acted, the way she even acted as well in interviews, trying to set this narrative, which was false, trying to make out that girls weren't fans of Doctor Who before she came along and they hadn't got a role model. I'm sorry, but that is untrue. You see hundreds of girls cosplaying as Eccleston, Tennant's, Matt Smith's Doctor especially is actually one of the favourites from these cosplayers, especially the girls. They like wearing the short, the dicky bow and the fez, and they look dead. They look brilliant. But to set this false narrative, she did all of that as well. It wasn't just the BBC. She added to it. So I don't want another woman. It has to be a man for the next one, because he's going to shoot himself in the foot. He already has an uphill struggle because we got the lowest ratings for Eve of the Daleks. The Legend of the Sea Devils, by the way, the trailer does look. We haven't, after we do the reviews, I will ask everybody about the trailer because I have a few opinions on that, right? But again, trailers always look impressive, but then the episode itself, very interesting. But I'm going to shut up now. We'll let everybody else finish their reviews and then we'll
I
get
just
into
wanted to say that Gobby
Oh.
Guy said a good point. So the Doctor was a role model and a hero to us geeks at school, someone with brains, not brawn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I just want to add
Christian,
on.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, because you're still not finished your review, so you go ahead there, mate.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing real fast. First of all, if we want to wrap it up, I have to give it a 10. There's not there, even though you can criticize and say anything and move up on a point, and Real Super Doctor had some really good critiques. I don't know how other better way you could have done this without, tripping and falling with all those things. We could have said that. And it's easy to be on this side of the field going, well, we could have had this and this and that. But for what it was worth, at its moment, at its time, I got to give it a 10. But going just a little bit further, what you were saying, Noel, Matt Smith at least went back in and researched it because that's where he got the second Doctor's bow tie.
He became a fan. He became a
fan. And somebody had mentioned, no, he didn't do any research. And I said, where do you think the bow tie came from?
It's not just even the bow tie, it's the mannerisms. It's so clear.
And exactly
his
right.
version of the second Doctor. It's his sort of little bits and bobs he's taken and he's completely spun them to his own Doctor.
Yeah. Right. And not only that, Charlotte, but it was Jodie, from what I heard in the interview, she did not look back in the past. What is she constantly being criticized as being like? David Tennant and Matt Smith. So if you never looked back and to see what was going on in the past, you're just going to repeat it in the future. And that's what they say. You always learn from the past, so you never repeat it in the future. And he was being criticized. Oh, she's just a running buff David Tennant. That's what everybody tells her. Or at least not her, but...
Well, she's a bad cosplayer, the two of them. You're absolutely right. She probably did surface research, so checked out an episode probably of each of their episodes and then took their best traits and tried to incorporate it into her Doctor, which is not much of a Doctor. If you strip that away, what's actually there? There's nothing there. That's the point. She just didn't do the research, and I'm sorry. That's unforgivable as far as a Doctor Who fan is concerned. It's the arrogance that, well, I'll do it my way, and if you don't like it, there's the highway sort of attitude, and that's the attitude of this whole production team and of Jodie Whittaker. That's why, look at these last two episodes, right? We got a special coming up, right now. If this is true, this is how bad this situation actually is. So apparently, it was Roundels on Twitter that informed me and Gary that the Legend of the Sea Devils trailer was actually on BBC Wales channel for 3 hours before it was officially released on the BBC and the Doctor Who YouTube channels. So it was already out there 3 hours beforehand and nobody even bothered with it. It's hardly viewed.
Wow.
Right? Now, the trailer does look impressive. We know that. But it's always with Chris Chibnall. These things look impressive. It looks pretty. But there'll be no substance to this episode. This is going to be another train wreck. And then the centenary, if you think they're going to get something brilliant there, the centenary is going to be another train wreck, right? So even before RTD takes over, we have to see how these two stories pan out, for starters. See, does he fix this whole time, this children nonsense? He still has 2 episodes to do it. He better do it, in fairness to him. If he doesn't, then I hope they do bookend this series and the Bad Wolves production of it is completely something different that we've never seen. Maybe reboot it again. I don't care at this stage. They need to do something dramatic to save this show at this stage. But it's done. But I want to just give my rating on this 50th anniversary because, as you know, I'm like
well, PD as well. He's not.
Yeah, I'll get them 2 in. I'm going to be brief, right? I do have the same issues as John. Right, that they could have done this, that, and the other. But I do agree with Christian's point. You know, you've got to look at what Moffat actually had and also take into account the budget he would have had. And take into account that at one stage he probably thought that he was going to get Christopher Eccleston because Christopher Eccleston was close to joining the whole thing. And then he pulls out, so then Moffat then obviously has to rewrite stuff. So to produce this level that he did, right? And watching it again, this is the first time actually that I've watched it where I haven't been so annoyed about the Doctor hanging out at the TARDIS and the other scenes that do annoy me. I actually saw myself enjoying this a lot more. So for the first time, because I've never given it a 10, but I'm going to actually give it a 10 out of 10. It's the first time I've actually sat down and really, really, really enjoyed watching this 50th anniversary. And all of the performances in it were brilliant. And we were lucky to have John Hurt. And of course, he's sadly no longer with us, but we'll always have that that memory and those scenes of him. He's a legend, in my opinion. But I'm giving it a 10. So as I've kept Lee waiting anyway, go ahead, mate.
Yeah.
And thanks for that, Lee. Thank you. That's great, Lee. Thank you. PD, I'm only messing with What?
Yeah, it's no 5 Doctors, is it?
No.
He said, which for me still is my favorite anniversary special, and the 3 Doctors still for me ranks above the Doctor, because I'm much more of a classic Who fan than I'm of the New Who era. Like, for me, the classic Who era is infinitely more rewatchable. That's just how I feel, because I'm so connected to that. It's in my DNA. New Who is like a cherry on top, with the icing and all the, whistles and bells. But for me, the classic era can't be beaten, and for that reason, it's to celebrate the 50th. Now think about it: 50 years, 5 decades of Doctor Who, and it's almost like the classic Doctors are a footnote. I mean, it's nicely tip of the hat sort of stuff at the end, to bring them in, but it just felt lacking for me. And even though Tom Baker, infinitely the best scene in the whole thing, which was, a roof lifting moment, especially if you were in the cinema watching it live, was worth the ticket price entry alone. I think as well, the story is a bit convoluted. It seems to be sort of very disjointed. It's got a lot of things going on. I think they could have stripped it right back. I would have had, instead of Zygons in this, which it was nice to see them back, but a classic monster we hadn't seen since Tom Baker was good, but it's sort of disjointed without the Tom Baker element to it, if you know what I mean, or the Brigadier, sadly, obviously no longer with us. But I think because it was revolving around Gallifrey, the story of the destruction or non-destruction of Gallifrey, should have had more Daleks.
Yeah.
If you'd have had this story with just the Daleks, maybe some Cybermen or something like that, some real sort of Time War stuff. Because, Zygons really don't, they're not like they're a great classic villain, but this story is a 50th anniversary, and I think the Daleks really should have been central focus of this story. And I know, look, there's an awful lot at this point. We've got too many Doctors, right? And a lot of them are no longer with us. Well, not a lot of them, but Hartnell and Troughton and Pertwee are no longer with us. And the others don't look like what they used to. But we've already had this with Time Crash, so we can always explain that kind of stuff away. So, or have them as sort of different characters or something. I think they would have. I mean, the 5-ish Doctors was great. I mean, that was a nice little added bonus. But it did feel a bit of a slap in the face to the sort of more classic fans, I think. I don't think Moffat intended that. I think Moffat obviously wants to move things forward. And it was also annoyingly, that just as an aside, you know, with the I've got to go and look for Gallifrey. You know, that seemed like a perfect setup for
and then they didn't follow it through.
Exactly. And I thought, because season 8 didn't do that, but at the end of season 8, it was like, I've got to go and find Gallifrey. It's like, yes, okay, we're finally going to get the hunt for Gallifrey. No. There it is. You know, like, you know.
What the hell?
Wow.
I think that's for Melina.
The eyes. Brilliant.
Keep talking. I'll explain that later. Sorry, I just had to do that.
That was scary. That was actually.
So yeah, party pooper Lee. Keep going. Yeah, go on.
So yeah, I mean, where was I? I mean, there was some great interaction there between the 3 doctors there. I've always been a proponent for, you know, if Eccleston wasn't going to be in it, then they should have had Paul McGann as the Doctor in doing the War Doctor. I mean, there's plenty of Big Finish stuff, even though canon-wise, you know, you can choose to adopt it or not. But it just seemed like such a, you know, he was there. As much as I love John Hurt, I mean, you could have still had an extra Doctor thrown in for good measure, you know, like you could have written it cleverly that, you know, the 8th Doctor split into 2, and then you had like, you know, a War Doctor and a Doctor, and you know, something. I mean, I just thought off the top of my head. So, you know, look, it's very easy as Christian said, you know, to dream up all the things that could have been done or whatever. But you know, you can't pass that through time and osmosis, can you? So, so I think there are a lot of wasted opportunities and a bit of an over-convoluted plot. It was enjoyable in places, a lot of superfluous stuff and filler, I thought, which wasn't necessary to the plot. So you got a lot of setup and things in there, which is good for the comic value. But I think mostly it's the interaction with the 3 Doctors on screen. But I do believe that for the classic Who, like the Tom Baker scene was the only sort of real anchor point to what we're celebrating, you know, 50 years of this show, and to bring back the most classic actor was really the only sort of highlight the classic Who people got, you know, apart from the obvious introduction with the classic logo music, and that was great. And I thought we were going to get a lot more of that, like Real Super Doctor was saying, you know, with that wonderful trailer that we got. It seemed to imply that we were going to get all these Doctors somehow, and it didn't transpire. So I really hope that's addressed. If we're going to get any multi-Doctor stories in the future, that with the technology available, that we can get that. You know, whilst Tom is still with us, if we can, you know, have an actor playing him and have his face put on and his voice, his actual voice, because he still sounds pretty much as he used to, that would be great. You know, and you've got people who can do the voices of Pertwee and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, it's it's enjoyable, but it's not in the same vein as the 3 Doctors of the 5 Doctors for me. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. The way you were sounding there, it looked like you were going to give it a 5 or a 6 or something, but you're actually giving it an 8. You're actually giving it an 8.
It's a good story, but for an anniversary, for the 50,
right?
I think it should have been
bigger,
much more classic oriented, and a real, you know, that's what I would call fan service. Like I do tip my hat to Moffat for overcoming a lot of problems, especially with Eccleston and whatnot. But I do think he sort of lets his imagination run away, and he's obviously very aware of how clever he is, so he plays on that. But I think that's almost to the detriment of what we were actually celebrating.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, very interesting score, considering, as I said, it sounded like you were going to give it a worse score. You're a weird kind of fish, but that's why we love you.
Well, no, I think Real Super Doctor made a lot of similar critiques, but he still gave it 10 out of 10.
Yeah, he's a bit weird. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to he's been waiting a long time.
Yeah,
just sitting there rocking backwards
left to last. It's the PD, Rich. Go ahead, mate.
Save the best for last.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there rocking backwards and forwards in my chair, listening to it like an old man. Yeah, I kind of understand where Problem Bing is getting from, but remember, we got Adventure in Time of Space, and we got the Night of the Doctor. So we did kind of go back and visit. I mean, it wasn't the greatest visit, but we got a visit. But yeah, I mean, coming back to the main episode, I think this is the golden era of New Who. This is when it was big. This is a big point, and I just kind of feel sad because kind of it went a bit downhill with season 8 of Doctor of Capaldi's era. That's the way I feel about it. Kind of picked back up a little bit and turned it in series 9, but didn't pick up too much.
And that wasn't Capaldi's fault, by the way, Billy.
No,
I actually like Series 8. I think Series 8 gets too much bloody stick, man. Series 8 is actually pretty decent. Yeah, okay, there's a couple of bad episodes in it, but like overall, listen. If you went back and actually watched that, and we are going to be watching it, I guarantee you're going to feel differently about Series 8. But go ahead anyway, PD.
Yeah, you want to see me give low marks in about a couple of months' time. I'm going to be giving a few low marks. No. Just being serious. So, I think this was kind of like the golden age. This is when I remember Doctor Who being big. Really big around the world, and the cinema, everyone going to the cinema to see it. I couldn't do it. Sadly, I couldn't go because I was at a martial arts tournament that night, and I managed to just get back in time.
I think the 50th did burn out Moffat, though. I think after that, it was very difficult for him to, because once the razzmatazz of the 50th has been and gone, then it's kind of like a bit of a deflation, So that's a hard thing to combat, especially after focusing so much on getting that done.
I think he's a harsh and serious 8, to be quite honest with you.
I still feel like Christian said, I just think Clara should have gone after series after she was Matt Smith's companion.
Yeah.
Oh, you just went on Melina's hit list. Sorry. Bye.
No. I think Capaldi was good. But he wasn't allowed to grow in series. We'll get to this in a couple of months.
I was going to say, keep on to.
We've got a couple of months' time. We'll be watching this. I'll get.
In fairness, we will be doing Series 8. Trust me, it's coming up really soon, and we will have a lot.
Nerdaholics in as well. We could discuss about.
We will have a lot of these discussions
I hate as well.
But don't worry, I reckon PD and some of the skeptical people on the panel are going to have a change of heart. Yeah. Yes, they'll still hate the episodes that they hate, but a lot of the episodes that they dislike, I guarantee you they'll change their opinion. They have on some Matt Smith ones.
Everyone called it the Clara Oswald show series. Like everyone I know, this before I knew no one problem being long before we called it the Clara Oswald show. So, the Doctor actually going to do something. Is he going to get to do something this week? Is the Doctor going to get? Oh no, Clara just took over.
She's progressed onto swords now.
Yeah.
Got plenty of them, Melina. I've got plenty of them myself. Yeah.
Holy crap! You're gonna be sliced and diced later.
No, I love season 9. I loved season 9 and 10. I just didn't like season 8.
Sliced and diced like an onion.
Yeah, I just loved series 9 and 10. I just did not like season 8. I just thought it was a bit all over the place.
All right. Anyway, back to the 50th.
Day of the Doctor.
Before something else happens in the chat.
I can kind of understand. I think Moffat salvaged this episode very, very well with Eccleston, saying no, and him having the whole story around Eccleston. I think he did a great salvage job. I think it contained a bit of everything. And I think, like a good wine, I'm going to try and keep it short, like a good wine, it ages very, very well. It's one thing I've noticed about this. I mean, we got the cameo from Tom Baker in this. I was in tears as well. I still tear up when I see him. I was teary-eyed when I saw David Tennant the first time in this one, actually, because I thought David Tennant kind of went on a kind of a dark period. But yeah, I just think I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 as well. I'm going to cut it short. 10 out of 10 as well. I just think it's not because it was a great episode. It's because of the time it was in was absolutely amazing. Doctor Who in the cinema. You've never seen Doctor Who in the cinema. First time Doctor Who has been in a cinema, on the big screen.
Well, apart from the Dalek movies.
Oh, that's not really. That's Aru canon. That's a spin-off, mate. That's not.
I think it's just a testament of Moffat as a showrunner because he was exploring and looking. Remember, this was the episode not only went into the cinema, it premiered all over the world at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it brought back.
It was an international celebration.
And I forgot to mention that I think the episode should have started with Night of the Doctor. That should have been part of the episode.
Oh, we did.
We did watch it. No. It was a separate episode.
Oh, you mean at the cinema?
Night of the Doctor should have been part of Day of the Doctor. It should have just started with that. And everybody should have been geeking out when they saw Paul McGann. And now the question marks are going over your head with and I'm sorry, it was kind of lame with him, holding onto the TARDIS underneath. It was kind of a weird thing for me. But to start off with that moment where 8 is becoming the War Doctor and how all that started, I think that should have been part of the Day of the Doctor. I think that should have been part of the Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm giving it a 10 as well, because everything around it, adventure through time, space and time, Night of the Doctor, everything, the 5-ish Doctors, I think it was just a massive, massive celebration. And the problem is Star Trek didn't hit that point at their 50th. Star Trek was very flat. I mean, there was nothing new. Doctor Who hit the ground running.
Yeah, and also you had so many panels and the Comic-Con that year, and you had so many things just the Doctors talking, the classic Doctors going out and talking, and Matt doing promo, and David doing promo.
Everyone, them two are inseparable, apparently.
Oh yeah, you could tell they got on like a house on fire. Just with their performances.
Absolutely inseparable when they were going around doing promos.
Great chemistry. Yeah, that's why it's so enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, you never thought 10 and 11 would get on. You thought they'd be kind of constantly trying to up each other. But they're like, you're like, when you get two dogs who don't think like each other, and then they start playing in the garden. They have that kind of they're going around urinating over everything, but they're still trying to get up and playing. That's kind of how
they were not too dissimilar from each other. They're quite wisecracky, quirky, upbeat, but sort of with a dark veneer. Both of them, sort of one after the other, were very, very much of a type. Capaldi is the thing that threw a lot of the Tennant and Smith's fans think, how can you be this different? They couldn't understand that, and obviously the more classic Who fans did understand that because we've seen older Doctors and less sort of heroic looking and younger looking, apart from Peter Davison, who was the prototype, I guess. But I mean, it's interesting to see how Capaldi was rejected by these fans. But embrace Jodie Whittaker.
That's still freaky.
Yeah,
that's insane. It doesn't make any sense to me, but okay.
Yeah, I love Capaldi in season. I've said to Melina as well. I loved him in season 9. I love that kind of midlife crisis Doctor. I thought he was brilliant. And Ted, when he was Master and Apprentice.
Did you want to hear the explanation about these?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Anyway, I gave it a 10.
When this first happened on Day of the Doctor, I came up with the idea. I'd actually popped two 3D glasses, took the lenses off, and then cut out the face of that. And I went to MegaCon with these glasses on. If you were a Whovian, everybody in line waiting for their tickets was laughing their asses off completely. They thought it was the most hysterical thing. If you were a non-Whovian, you were looking at me like, oh my God, is he going to kill me? So,
who's this weirdly crazy man?
So I walked around those Capaldi eyes, and believe it or not, there's a picture. I wish I could probably find it if you want me to. Peter Capaldi was actually performing at Florida SuperCon one year, and this is how great Peter Capaldi is to his fans. A friend of mine who was doing the announcement, the host of it. He was hosting Peter Capaldi, and he had all the 12 cosplayers. Anybody who was cosplaying that day come up on stage, and he was going to have Peter Capaldi come in. And at that one point, he was going like, okay, show us who the best 12th Doctor is. And Peter Capaldi was supposed to walk up on stage, come up, and he had made sure that I was right next to him with the glasses. So as soon as Peter Capaldi walked up, he turns around, sees me, sees the glasses, and Peter, there's a picture somebody took, and he's just flipping out. He's going, "Oh my God, those are it!" So that was a testament to Peter, and he's just a lovely guy. I hope you all get a chance to meet him because he's wonderful. And I didn't want Charlotte to be the only one without the camera on. So, so if anybody wants to take a risk, here we go.
Oh no, it'd just be us two.
Okay,
have a camera on this PC.
all the sexy people are going to be online. Everybody else is not. We're just big round bubbles there.
Speak your bloody self.
Yeah. Even Mueller doesn't reveal himself, so there we go.
Yeah. You go to Mueller's house, knock on the door, it's just a big circle with an icon.
He's wearing the gas mask in real life.
Did you want food?
Here we are punching up at the rest of the Phantom Menace.
Drinks through a straw. Yeah.
And I'm a podcaster too, so everybody here on the TARDIS Zone, subscribe, like, give us share, give a comment, tell us what you think.
You
Right, well, actually, nice segue into what I want to ask you. So, obviously, Legend of the Sea Devils trailer has dropped, and while we have new people on the panel, of course, we'll ask everybody. But we'll start with Charlotte first, because I know Charlotte has to go now in just a second. So, if you want to do the channel shout out first, and then give your opinion on the trailer briefly, then we know you're done.
Yeah, so you'll catch me mainly on the Spacebook. We're back doing live streams on Thursdays, and I do review podcasts now, and I think we're due to do Partners in Crime on Tuesday night. So if you're a Donna a 10 fan, watch us review that episode on Tuesday. And then me and Daniel's channel, we did one with Lee on Friday night where we just talked to anything. And we did talk a bit about Doctor Who and like RTD and what we want sort of for the future. And you'll catch me here. And then very quickly then, the trailer, it wasn't bad, but it gave me a lot of spectacle over what's the actual story. I felt like they purposefully were not showing what the actual story was not showing a lot of Jodie and Dan and Yaz. It was sort of just, here's a pretty ship, here's a sea devil, here's this. And I just sort of, I've clicked this, that they purposely don't show story. And that always has alarm bells.
Because that's the weakest element.
Yeah.
It's same with the Flux trailer. Flux trailer was exactly the same. The trailer looked impressive, right? But there was no substance there. We didn't know what the story was going to be.
And I said that at the time, and you all pounced on me.
No, I was with you, Lee. I said the same. I was like, God, what's the actual story, folks? Have a think here. And
in fairness, we were fooled by the trailer, but we learned our lesson after that and haven't been fooled since. So, I mean, every trailer that came out then after the big trailer, we said, look, more glitz and glamour, no substance. And that's what he does.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to add, Charlotte, before you head off tonight?
No, just that, like I said. So see you guys all next week, and have a good weekend, the rest of it.
Bye. Bye, Mum.
Bye.
Bye. PD, what did you think of the latest trailer, The Legend of the Sea Devils?
I had a quick look while we were all watching, or talking about for Day of the Doctor. Sorry, I'm trying to do 5 things at once here again. But yeah, it looks a bit rough around the edges, that trailer. All the CG looked really, how do you say it? It just looked bit cheap. Yeah, a bit like, what was it? Molinera doing it now, aren't they? They've just kind of done it, got the temps to do it. Oh yeah, you go on, just do it. Yeah, we're too busy working on the A-list films. You do just handle Doctor Who over there. Well, we're kind of thing, if you know what I mean. And it was just, it was a bit cringe. I just felt cringe.
Yeah,
really cringe. And I said Jodie still feels like the imposter Doctor, so there we go.
Yeah,
it's going to change.
Yeah, I watched the trailer again. To me, it looks pretty impressive. The CGI actually doesn't look that bad to me, but again, I was watching it actually on my computer and it didn't look too bad. But in saying that, what did we actually get to learn in that trailer of what was to come? nothing really. He just
Absolutely nothing.
flashes things on the screen, like the Sea Devils, as I said, like the pirate ship, and it does actually look a bit like the pirate, the black spot, the blue. Is he bringing back that bloody stupid mermaid woman again or something?
Yeah.
Because it had the water. Look at the ship; it's covered in that blue stuff and stuff, or the water looks like it's covered in it or something like that. But again, that's what he does. He very poorly copies other ideas of the previous showrunners. Again, I think this is going to be. I'm gonna say it out straight. Look, I've had 5 years experience of this era now, right? And every time he lets us down, right? Yeah, don't expect something brilliant here, right? Yes, it has the Sea Devils in it. My only thing that I want to see happen, and this is the only thing, is that the Sea Devils come out of this unscathed. That's it. I just want them to come out of this without their reputations being ruined. That's it. That's all I'm hopeful for, right? Because look, this is not going to. I know for a fact it's not, because he never delivers. So why do we expect him to deliver this time? He's had 5 years to try and deliver, and he hasn't delivered in those 5 years. So I'm not going to be fooled again by a trailer, right? It can look as spectacular as it wants. It can have the best CGI going in it, right? No substance. There'll be no substance to this. There'll be no proper plot, right? He's actually what he's done is he's not even using the real character from history. He's decided to add his own bloody character because he's an idiot, right? Yeah. So he won't even do a proper historical. He's decided to just take historical events and bastardize them in his own episode. I'm sick of this man. He's a hack. We've had 5 years of him. Can't wait till he goes. Remember, when this episode drops, we got one more left of his era, and we're one more step closer to RTD, and that's the way I'm looking at it now. So I'm not expecting that, and I'll watch it, I'll review it, and I will be fair. If there's elements in it, we have been fair with Flux. I have to say, I think we've been more than fair, and with the specials, and we'll be the same as we are for the last two. But I'm not expecting. My expectations have actually hit rock bottom now. I'm not expecting that. So I'll go with Lee next, because I know he has plenty to say on it too.
They're going to get Mistress Chang right. Sorry, Lee.
No. When does he ever get historical characters or characters like that right?
Mistress Chang in Pirates of the Caribbean is going to be more faithful than what Chris Chibnall does.
Seriously, man. I just have no respect for him
and
anymore.
I bet in the end, sorry about this, Lee. I bet in the end, he even fails on a regeneration.
Oh, man, I don't care. Once she's gone, don't care how she regenerates. Look, if she can fall out of the TARDIS again for all I care and land on a spike. Yeah, she can land into a meat grinder for all I care. I don't care, right? Once she regenerates, okay, and we get the new Doctor, I don't care. I've checked out now, right? I gave the guy 3 series, right? I gave him a chance. Every season he let me down, right? I'm not giving him any more chances now. He's got 2 episodes to fix this timeless children nonsense and to hopefully the Sea Devils come out of this unscathed. But other than that, I don't care. Right? I don't care how she regenerates. I don't care if it's stupid, if he gets it right or wrong. Once she's gone, I don't care. Once he's gone, I don't care. That's it. I'm moving on to the RTD era.
Wait, guys. Problem being, I got an audio of I have the audio of Jodie regenerating. Hang on a second.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That she's supposed to drown.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. That was fake. I'm sorry.
Let her drown. I don't care, man. I don't care how she regenerates. Someone can Dan can shoot her in the face or something. I don't care. Just let her regenerate. Get it done and over with. Kill the Chibnall era and just move on. It's the best thing for it. Anyway, I'm done. Lee.
Say, PD? Tom Baker drowned her.
Well, he did say if she failed, then she should regenerate. Or bring Tom back as the curator, and he trips her into a pond or something.
Drowns her.
So yeah,
Melina,
We
you
gotta
are
behave. We
chopped.
gotta behave.
so
right?
is it Madam Ching? Is
Chang.
that the
Chang.
name of the
Mistress? It's Mistress Chang, really, but
right? I mean, talk about stereotypical Chinese surname. You know, I mean, the original famous Chinese female pirate. Excuse me if I butcher this, but it's Zheng Yi Sao. Also known as Qing Shi, is the historical female pirate. So I don't understand, with all this deference to
he ripped off the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Rosa Parks and Nikola Tesla, and why you wouldn't stick with an actual historically accurate.
Because this way he can feminize the character. This character probably talked down to Dan and all the blokes on the ship and stuff like that, because that's what, Chibnall does. These men, these are pieces of crap.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we've got to expect. I mean, there's a lot of female pirates back in the day, Mary Read, Anne Bonny.
Yeah.
So I mean, plenty to choose from, but I don't know. You could do a historical with that.
God, disaster.
That's it. And the Whitaker's doctor jumps in to save her, but she drowns in the process.
Well, no, how can she walk on herself? How can Yaz walk on herself? She is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mistress Ching makes her walk the Yaz.
Get Jodie Whittaker to walk on her. Yeah. Walk on the plank.
Walk the Yaz.
I can't believe Yaz the plank is stuck for 5 years.
That's why she's in the pirate episode, because I need her.
So we see a sea monster in this trailer as well. So I'm wondering if that's going to be the Merker or not.
Probably.
Oh no.
That'll be something.
Maybe a marker of a marker.
It's a CGI Merca. So
yeah, so it's slightly more impressive than the pantomime Merca we saw in Warriors of the Deep. But look, I one thing that Chibnall does well is the design aspect. Apart from the theory, which, I didn't like the human-looking Silurian. But the Cybermen he did well. Daleks he did atrociously. Centaurans he did pretty well. And the Sea Devils, they look great. I love the costume of the Sea Devil with the barnacle coat and all that. And the head sculpt looks great. Rabbi says it looks too big. I don't think so. I mean, if you look at the original designs, they look like they were balanced on top of the actor's head.
Yeah.
With the long necks, and he's sort of wobbling around. So it looks more in proportion to me. But again, it's all about looking pretty. The trailer told us very little to nothing. All we saw was Yaz telling someone off, as she always does. Presumably, it's either Yaz having a go at the doctor because she wants to scissor her, or having a go at Dan, who looks like a prat, dressed like a prat. Saying, "Oh, you look like you act like a child or whatever." It's just like, God, she's so obnoxious. I really don't get it. So I'm expecting some sort of estrogen level risen situation in this story. It's about the only seaman that. But
okay.
Yeah.
No, was there ever an episode of the TARDIS Zone that had semen and used properly?
We've had plenty of episodes.
Enable semen. It's going to be an episode called Enable semen.
Anyway, Lee, wrap it up. Come on.
All right. It's got all that same sort of really
tropey stuff that he does.
No, I mean it's what they did with Flux was make it more sort of bright and colourful, right? They're really up to saturation. This seems a lot more muted, like it did before. It looks really kind of bland. There's some nice looking CGI, like the TARDIS at the bottom of the sea and all that, and the ship looks fantastic. But ultimately, it didn't tell us anything about the story. So I'm assuming it's going to be pretty superfluous just to bring back the Sea Devils to go, look, we've got Sea Devils. Now look, Doctor scissoring. You know, it's always a shit sandwich. It's always like, here's some villains and monsters from the past, and now we're going to do some new canon stuff, which is crap. So that's that. You know, it really is the one more and we're done moment now. I'm at that stage where I don't care. I'll look at how pretty the Sea Devils are, and that's all I'm interested in.
Yeah, and hope that they come out with their reputations intact.
Yes, do not destroy the Sea Devils.
That's it. That's it. And I do agree with you. I do like the redesign. I think it's very good. That's one thing I will give Chibnall praise, and it's the only thing I'll ever give him praise about. Some of his redesigns have been absolutely winners. I do agree with
He's
the
got
Daleks,
a good art department.
but I will say I think he did get the Daleks right in the end, but he did royally screw them up at the start with that skinny looking Dalek. But yeah, look,
the Merca Win says disaster area. Quite right.
But that's the thing. You can make things look prettier, better. At the end of the day, it comes down to the story and the plots, and he's had none. But let's go with Christian next.
I saw. Well, the thing is, and I'm agreeing with everybody on this. Chibnall could have put out the 60th anniversary, and I would still be going like, really? You know, he could have put anything in there. It's just, I don't feel like I'm enjoying the series. I'm trying to get through the series and trying to get to the other side, and it's and this is not anybody can tell me and try to, you know, in some cases, as you know, Noel, coerce us to try to feel one way. It's like, no, this is how I feel. Why are you going to try to change that? Why are you trying to shove it down my throat?
It's a pentathlon of pain, Christian. It's a pentathlon of pain.
I feel like once this is over, you know, and it always also concerns me. Even RTD, I know, Noel, you really are confident what he has, what he's brought, and he does have a history of making it a great show. But now, is 2005 RTD, or do we have a different RTD in 2022? Because any of this can happen. So I'm not in a good space with what's going on with the show. I feel like the Timeless Children is still sitting in my brain as a bad piece of lettuce, you know, just sitting there. It won't go away. And I know some people like it. I don't understand it. I have a lot of issues with it. And like I said on my show, I'll say on this show, the biggest thing that really bothered me about the Timeless Children, you told Bruce Wayne he's Superman the whole time.
Yeah.
I'll let you think about that for a second.
Yeah.
You just cheapened the character.
Yeah.
To the point where I just can't even recognize what you just did with it. So Bruce Wayne's now Superman. Now he can go out and fly around, go to that doesn't make Superman Superman. The Doctor is the Doctor because of the choices he has made, not because he's the chosen one.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. You go beyond that route, you cheapen the Doctor. End of discussion. There's nothing more to it. And that's why I think you've taken this Timeless Children thing, expanded on that. Now we've got to make the people who ship Yaz and 13. I'm just like, you know what? We didn't really like it back then. When it was with Rose and 9, we were okay with it. Then we got Rose and, Rose and 10. 10 and Astrid. 10 and Martha. 11 and Amy. And now, 12 and, 11 and Claire, all 3 Claras. 12, I'm not your boyfriend. I mean, at one point we're going to go like, when I saw Nardole, I was happy. We were back to the buddy.
Yeah.
It was only echoed with Donna and 10. It's not the boyfriend, even though they went into a little bit. You're not mating with me, sunshine. It felt like Jamie. Yeah, it felt like Jamie and the second Doctor. They were buddies. And Nardole knew when not to cross the space god. There were so many fun moments. The scene where Missy is about to be executed. I have permission from your wife to kick your ass. I mean, he knew when to play the Doctor and have fun with him, and then he knew when he had to give him space to be who he is. And that's what I loved about Nardole. In fact, people look at me funny when I say, you know what, in the reboot, Nardole's my favorite new companion. Just because he was so written. And I even argue and say, if Nardole and Bill had started at his first series and we saw Rock and Roll Doctor in the first series, we might still be talking about Peter Capaldi today. We wouldn't even know who Judy Whittaker was at this point. Because I think he would have had the chance to be the Doctor that he wanted. I wasn't too crazy about Peter the way they've written him because he was grumpy old. He was hearkening the first Doctor and kind of the sixth Doctor a little bit too much. And I was getting angry because of the way he was treating Clara. And at some point I was going like, this is grumpy old. But when he finally came up on that tank.
Oh, yeah.
And he was playing the guitar. I was like, why wasn't this in the first episode? We would have loved it.
Yeah, exactly. Same as.
And this is how I feel going forward with Jodie.
Getting really fucking knocked.
What's that problem?
Melina's getting knocked.
I can feel all the way from Puerto Rico on the internet.
Lee, you're in the bad books, yeah.
She razzed you for not being. She says it's all patriarch now that we got no child.
That's it. It's a man's world, baby.
But Christian Bruce Wayne is Superman in the Elsewhere Speeding Bullets. Okay, well that's what your 52 reboot, whatever you want to. Wow, she's just not stopping. Oh, she's gonna have my head on Tuesday. Yep. Peter's my boyfriend too, Melina. I love him to death. So there you go. But I just feel like I'm not. I saw the trailer, and I'm going to say this, and I know you guys, all of you are from in the UK, or at least have no commercial TVs, right?
We do have commercials, but on the other channels.
You do, okay.
But they're not. There's a bit of we got Ofcom regulating it, so it's once every kind of 15 minutes and no longer than 5-minute ad breaks.
Oh, okay. When I saw the Halloween Apocalypse, it has commercials on BBC America. After I watched it again, I felt like they were, when they broke it up in the scenes that they had, they weren't part of a story of an episode. They felt like small trailers trying to explain an episode.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, gentlemen? Otherwise,
well, it does, because like literally after the series had finished, he went onto YouTube for 15 minutes with Jodie
and had to explain it.
So, I mean, if you have to go onto YouTube after you drop the series to explain it because fans still don't know what the crap you're doing, well, then you haven't done your job.
Yeah, exactly.
That should have been all explained in a series. Okay, due to certain restrictions and stuff, he hadn't got as many episodes as he had, but he had a lot of filler that he could have taken out, condensed it all if he was clever enough to do so. And the editors that he obviously had edited this better, because you are right, this was actually broken up with ad breaks. It would feel like you're watching something different because it shifted from one scene and then went somewhere else, and then it went somewhere else, and then it never stayed in one place.
It feels like multiple trailers to a movie we can't even figure out.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I feel about this particular one, especially that floating blue ship looked like tacky CGI. What the heck was that all about? I'm just like,
run out of money at Molyneux. That's what
exactly. I just, like I said, I'll watch it. We'll review it. I might even enjoy it. Like I said, through a whole of the Chibnall series, and I have been wrong in some cases. Like, what was it? Village of the Angels. That actually is probably one of my favorite Jodie episodes. Problem, that doesn't say a lot.
The only one that's bearable.
That one was fun. It had Kevin McNally, who they really underused throughout Flux. He should have been on there day one.
And the thing was, it wasn't really. You could tell it wasn't Chibnall who wrote that. It was.
Everything was written by Chibnall except for that one episode. It was double written by the woman. Can't think of her name. Maxine something.
Maxine also wrote. Yeah, clearly, and he got the lead writing credit on that, but
right,
I don't.
She should have.
I think she should have. Yeah. No way.
But you could tell it was more written by Maxine because she wrote. Was it the Via Dali? I can't. The Haunting of Villa Dali, and that I like too. And yeah, those are 2 episodes. If I say, well, what's your top 3? Those 2 would be in it, and it's all written by Max. Well, at least in name, but both of them had an influence by Maxine. If we're going to take any writers from Jodie's era, I'll gladly take Maxine over, because she seems to know what she seems to know what she is doing somewhat.
I would normally agree with you if this era was slightly more successful, but because it has been so toxic and it has been so poorly received, I think it would be a bad idea for RTD to bring anybody across from the old production team. Because
I'm just saying if they had to bring somebody over,
I do agree. Yeah, if they
I think
had to bring someone and you twisted me arm, it would be either her or Pete Mitigue for me, or Pete Mitigue. He did the one with the robots, the Amazon ripoff one. What was that again? Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Morally weird story. It was like, so you support massive corporations and then killing a guy being.
No, I get what you're saying, but it felt like a Doctor Who episode to me, though. The rest of Jodie's era hasn't.
Yeah, but that was just the design of the robot more than anything. You know, it had that sort of robots of death kind of feel about it, or the bus conductor from Galaxy. You know, it had that sort of design feel about it. That's why it felt Doctor Who-y. But other than that, the story itself, no. If you strip it back, no, it doesn't. It's antithetical to Doctor Who. Really?
Well, like probably like the Witchfinders, which is actually, and like I said, it's not saying much, one of my favorite Jodie episodes.
My favorite.
The one thing that sticks in my mind and will stick forever in that episode is when 13 says, it's something to the fact that if I was a man, I wouldn't have this problem. And I had to sit there and scream at my TV, WTF. Your whole
MO. 20% of men in that period of time. I think I can't remember if it's 10 or 20, but it was something like that. 10, around that percentage.
But I'm talking about her.
So accused of witchcraft and burnt or hanged.
But that's what I'm saying. It wasn't the reference to her being a woman. It was the reference to being the Doctor. Your whole MO since the day you walked off the TARDIS was being in a male body, going into a planet or a place, saying to the people, this is wrong, then trying to kill you. And you've done this over and over again. That's been your whole lifespan. So you have no place. Now, if somebody like one of the villagers, or, one of the girl that she was trying to save was saying that makes sense. But for the Doctor to say it makes absolutely no sense. Oh, by the way, 13, you forgot your third life, because there was a cliffhanger episode called The Demons. What was happening? You were about to be burned for being a witch, and you look like B. Arthur.
Yeah.
You forgot that little incident now, didn't you, there, whoever wrote this story, we now know that doesn't look back at Classic Who. That's the kind of crap that I'm not appreciating, because now I can say, okay, next set of writers, RTD, you're going to lock them in a room. They're going to watch at least one episode from every Doctor and get the hint about the best of what they've come up with, and then they can write.
Chibnall, I mean, how could Chibnall not know, for example, that the partition of India had already been done in Doctor Who? Yeah. The mutants. The story of the mutants was not only about apartheid, but also the partition of India, which is also apartheid. So I mean, it's that existed. That's been dealt with, but much better. I mean, it wasn't a great story, but it was done in a science fiction context. Mm-hmm. And there was actually a wonderful Indian reviewer who did a video of that. Fantastic. And she pulled it apart, saying, well, this is written by, even though it's written by a Muslim, it's written in one way, and it totally got everything wrong about the culture and about sort of erasing the sort of imperialist British Empire aspect to it. And it's true, this is typical of white liberal guilt, that they will try and pander, but they'll do it in such a way it's actually more offensive than if they hadn't bothered. It's just so annoying.
But
I highly recommend that video. I'll see if I can find it. Put the link.
But Chibnall writes soap opera, and that would have made a great soap opera, not a great sci-fi. The only sci-fi thing was the aliens at the end who take you away, you know, when you're about to die. And I was like, so what was the point of even having that? You could have just made the episode what it was. The only thing sci-fi was you went back in time to Yaz's grandmother, who is a hoot. I love her. Whoever played her was awesome. But there wasn't even a point. It wasn't even sci-fi anymore. It was a soap opera. It's the same thing when, you know, when it comes to, I'll say it. I don't even watch the series. I watch my friends pick at it, and I think Noel picked at it too. Batwoman. It's not even a DC comic. It's soap opera. It just happens to have somebody dressed up as Batwoman.
Yeah. It's the Chibnall era is just, you know, there's so many problems with it that, you know, it baffles me how people actually do like this this era. It really does. But look, we all do have different tastes. I have to keep reminding myself that. But this is just so bad.
Yeah.
There's like, if you analyze each episode, even those ones that people do like, if you strip them all away, as Lee said, there's not much substance there. I mean, Series 11 is really, really bad. I mean, I'll give him credit for trying something different, and that's what he did. But when it didn't work, he tried to go back to the tried and tested for Series 12. It didn't. Sure, he killed it after the second episode. I mean, Spyfall Part 1, for me, if you're talking about favourite episodes of the whole era, I think Spyfall Part 1 is actually a pretty decent episode. It's the second episode is where he messes that up. But Spyfall Part 1 is actually a pretty decent episode. But he couldn't help but have these digs in that episode at fans that didn't like Jodie's casting with the line, I'm an upgrade. Like, fans knew exactly what he was doing at that stage. He was just having a go, and he wasn't helping himself. Instead of putting that to one side and just giving us a series that he could be proud of. Well, he probably is proud of the work that he's actually produced for it. But give us something that we could be proud of and have no shame. Oh, we're Doctor Who fans. Now it's gone back to the time like it was in the 80s, 70s, even 60s. It was kind of embarrassing to say that you were a Doctor Who fan. He's brought us back to those times. You know what I mean?
Well, that one line where you say, you know, the upgrade line, and just somebody said, well, what if a boy watched that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would they feel? How would
if someone in 10 years' time watches that?
I mean, at what point did the Doctor, in any of his previous incarnations, turn around and say to a woman, you're inferior? Which is basically what this is saying, you know, to males.
No, in fact, if you see a lot of the episodes, Ark in Space, what was it? The one with all the monsters. There's a beautiful line by John Pertwee where he's talking about, you know, the torturing of animals. You know, roll them up, bring them up, hook them with a stick, watch them jump. He's bringing out the best in his companions. Mm. In fact, people forget that when Sarah Jane Smith walked into the TARDIS, she wasn't, you know, buddy with the Doctor. That didn't come until later. Yeah. She was a feminist, who was antagonizing the Doctor. She even didn't even trust the guy, but it's slowly evolved in. In fact, I didn't even realize, but there's an episode, I forgot which one, Robot, where it actually backfired on Sarah Jane Smith. She presumes that a doctor is male, meaning that she was saying, oh, there was a woman and a man next to each other. And she goes, Dr. So-and-so. And then she goes, you know, the woman goes, well, aren't you a feminist or something like that? And Sarah Jane goes, I'm the doctor. I'm like, oh, so those things have already been in there. Maybe we just didn't realize it. Maybe we just blushed up because it was part of the story.
They were done better.
Things are on there.
Yeah, they were done better. Look,
they were done better. Yeah,
much better.
When those issues were at the forefront of change. The situation isn't anywhere like what it was in the 70s, and to try and pretend that it is like there's this crazy political civil rights movement that is, do or die now. It's a complete manufactured situation. It's not the same as it was then. Most things are very accepted. Like racism pretty much died out in the 90s, but it was brought back again by people insisting that it was still very real and still, on everyone's minds now. Everyone's a bloody racist, and it's so manufactured, and it's manufactured by very radical elements in our society who have corporate power backing them. And that wasn't the way it was in the Pertwee and Tom Baker era. These were very much civil rights, post-civil rights movement issues that were still ongoing. Like things including the environment with the Green Death and things like that. So you had elements like that in there. You had problems with misuse of power or corporate abuse and stuff like that with the Sunmakers and things. So all those things were relevant at the time, and it's still relevant in many ways, but it's contextualized by the time it was in, and Doctor Who always reflects the times that we're in. And unfortunately, Jodie Whittaker's era does exactly that, but it shows you how facile it is, how dull the argument is, how without any sort of intellectual thrust.
I would even add to something to this problem, how lazy we approach this. And it's the best sci-fi, I will argue to this day, the best sci-fi for me, I don't know about you guys, but it told you a moral and you didn't even know you were thinking about it.
Exactly.
Because you were so engulfed in a wonderfully great story. Exactly. There was a moral in it, but the great sci-fis, the great episodes like Doctor Who, you will talk about for weeks because you were just mystified. It was a great story, but it got you thinking, and you talk to your friends about it, and you continue to geek out. And even though you may have different opinions or be on the other sides, you were talking. The one thing that I agree with the comedian Jonathan Pye, it's the art of the discussion. And people who were on the kind of, for the better term, the left side of the political aisle, they had the art of the discussion. Maybe they might not be right, but at least they were willing to talk. And they were willing to discuss it with people. Now they take the lead.
About not tolerating anything.
Exactly.
And this is why you get lines like "I've had an upgrade," and and all these sort of very sort of stabby, sort of
catty.
Social, it's very catty. It's very intolerant. It's all in the name of inclusivity and diversity, which just means if you're a Marxist or you're not. And it's a cipher for that. Now, good science fiction uses political messaging in a science fiction context in order to usually. I mean, good science fiction stemmed really from imperialism. It stemmed from authoritarianism. A lot of great science fiction came from like Soviet Russia under Germany, and also. I mean, if you think about these stories like 1984, for example. It stems from experience of serious oppression and political things, but done in a science fiction context to sort of go under the nose of authoritarians and tyrannies, so that they don't necessarily see it surface level. But if you dig a little deeper, all the messaging is that's clever science fiction, and that's how to do politics in science fiction. But you don't do it so on the nose, and so it's so unwielding. It's unthinking, right? This is not intellectual arguments. It's not intellectual politics. It's reactionary, zeitgeisty kind of stuff, but it's not proper zeitgeist. This is manufactured zeitgeist stuff. The whole social justice thing is a complete manufacture of non-events to make it into something that it isn't. To all the world's terrible, and it's all from white middle class people who have this very collectivist mentality, and it's not conducive to Doctor Who, which is all about individualism, really, and about fighting conformity and oppression through collectivism. So now we have collectivists in charge who abhor individualism. So you have the most conformist Doctor of all time, committing genocides and just getting away with it because she's a woman and part of the correct group. So it's really, really insidious the way it's been used. And it's not clever science fiction because it doesn't hide its politics. It wears it on its sleeve. Whether or not it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. As long as they believe it, you better believe it too. And it's preaching at you. It's dictating to you. Doctor Who shouldn't be lecturing you. It should be winning you over with complex ideas, complex morality, and presenting you the question that you have to work out for yourself. It engages intellectual people. That's why Doctor Who is always a show for bright kids, smart kids, because it wasn't about brawn, it was about brain. And it was about learning morality through thinking things through, problem solving, weighing things up, not being told what's right and wrong, being told that you're a bad person if you don't believe it, or you need an upgrade. And it's so facetious. It really is. And that really sticks in my craw. It's done for such a negative reason.
Exactly.
But because they think they have the right, they're righteous about it, they think they're virtuous about it, but there's no virtue involved. It's all for show. It's all for backslapping. And
when we go to panels in the convention area, one of the panel discussions that we have, and this one is, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's also very fun. It's very enlightening and it's very open. Is the Doctor a villain or a hero? And we're actually going to have that episode soon later on in our show, but you'll be surprised how people, I wouldn't say change their minds, but they're opened. And when I bring in the discussion, like the face of evil, like the Doctor did something good, but ended up creating a civilization that created a companion who grew up as a Eliza Doolittle type character. Yeah. But it's, is the Doctor a good guy or the bad guy? If you look at the, I don't want anybody, the stormtroopers, for a better term, do they think they're the good guys or the bad guys?
Well, this is it. One person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist, isn't it? So it's all a matter of perspective.
Yeah, it is about. So you have to look at both perspectives, and science fiction doesn't say these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Sometimes they do, because you have to have the story and you have to have good and bad guy. But occasionally you will slip in, like sometimes you'll know what, you'll see perspective from the Batman, but then you'll see perspective from the Joker. And then you start to question, what was it, that line? It's just, when I grew up as a kid, I liked Batman, but when I got as an adult, I learned to respect the Joker. It's kind of good writing will let you know that there may not be a straight answer to everything.
Arcane is good for that as well.
Right. It's opening your mind. I'm not telling you what to think, but I want to make you think. I'm going to open up. Even Red Dwarf, with all of its humor and all of its stuff, some of that stuff is really deep if you start thinking about it clearly. And it's just like, whoa, I really was laughing at this. MASH started off the same way.
This is why Wokies hate comedy, because it is quite often a philosophy, really, because it tells the truth, because it isn't funny if it isn't true. And they can't stand being mocked.
That's why I don't get comedy. They can't.
That's
do
why
comedy.
great ideas are great ideas because they can be challenged and tested. But bad ideas can't stand to be mocked or joked about because they cannot stand to scrutiny. And that's why, comedy has to be protected at all costs. Will Smith looking at you.
Oh, that's another story altogether. Yeah. That's for another show.
That's it. Right, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to do the chance. Let's do that again. Okay. Right, guys, what we're going to do next is we're going to do the channel shout-outs. So we'll start with the one and only PD Rich. We'll go in order.
I will do quickly Daniel Deleach's channel, and Dan Hadley for Charlotte. She's left. I will put them back in the chat. And for me, I will probably be on Dave Travel to Chimes channels tomorrow doing Stargate. If you want to join us there.
Fantastic.
And I'm still with Rabbi. on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the chat.
Brilliant, brilliant. Lee, I'd ask you, but it'd be short and sweet, so I'll just move on. I'm only messing. Go ahead, mate.
Yeah, my other channel is Ordred Audio Visual. As Queen Charlotte said earlier, there was a little chat we had with Daniel and Charlotte on Daniel's channel. Go and check that out, and that's it. Yeah, fuck social media, by the way.
Okay, brilliant. Real Super Doctor.
You can find me on YouTube under Real Super Doctor, and you can find me on Twitter under Real Super Doctor.
Fantastic. And Christian?
We have a show every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, and I'm sorry for the time differential. 11 p.m. UK at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS here on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, share. You'll catch Melina on there, and she'll probably raise me hell on Tuesday night's episode. This coming episode, we're actually going to be interviewing the husband of Simon Fisher Becker, who plays music, and he actually wrote a song to his husband. If you don't remember Simon Fisher Becker, he was the famous Blue Man, Dorian Moldavar from the 11th Doctor series. The following week, and we're actually kind of leaving. I've always wanted to have somebody from NASA on our show, so we found somebody named Astronaut Abby, and I think this is going to be very fun. Even though it's not Doctor Who related, Astronaut Abby has started her own social media. She's been with bigwigs like Bill Nye and Tyson. I can't remember his name.
Neil deGrasse.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway.
She has been. She started social media and has been gaining some ground. She wants to be one of the first people to walk on Mars, and she is studying training. And she has a YouTube series about her journey and teaching other people what it's like to pursue space. So I thought she was a fascinating talk about. And the following week, what's that?
Looks like SpaceX is the one to be with for that.
I would love to have Elon Musk or somebody like that, but
hang around, Elon. Hang around.
Not in the budget, right?
Yeah, you probably get that.
And of course, the following week will be the review of the Legend of the Sea Devils. So
plenty to look forward to.
So yeah, but please, and I'll say this for everybody. Of course, here at the TARDIS Zone, the Rabbi, Spacebook. And if anybody I've missed, I'm sorry, but put them in the chats, and including the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Please subscribe, like, share. This is how we get our messages out. Support all the Doctor Who indies, because we've got something to say. And unfortunately, YouTube's not giving us the approach that we would love to say it, but we would love to share it out with you. If you love stuff like this, please give a subscribe to all the people who work hard on a weekly, daily, hourly basis to bring you the content that you can just enjoy just by clicking on it and being part of the legend, as we say at my time. So take it away now.
Fantastic.
Hi, Cheryl.
Brilliant. What?
Cheryl's in the chat. No, it's my eyesight going. It's Melina. I thought it was Teddy Terrier Tales.
No, I was kind of like thinking. I thought I was hallucinating there, and yous were and yous were all seeing it, and I'd gone absolutely blind or something.
No, it's me. It's my eyes have gone strained.
Yeah, yous our eyes are.
We've been at this for 3 hours, so you can understand.
Anyway, yeah. So you know where to find me. So next week, obviously, it's the week that we don't do watch-alongs, so there'll be plenty of streams from yours truly, and there'll be plenty to talk about, and I've got plenty to say, and we'll talk more about the Legends of the Sea Devils trailer. Come and join me for that, because that's going to be funny. Yeah, I just can't stand the man right now.
Nope.
You know, look, I never thought I'd actually say this, but I never thought this would end up the way it did. I don't think any of us did, but it's really, really bad right now. But one thing I think Christian has kind of put his finger on it. We are a big community. Yes, we all have separate channels and stuff like that, but we should all go and support each other. And remember, also, it gives you guys the opportunity that don't have necessarily a voice in this fandom right now at the moment, because they're being overpowered by certain people out there. You know who I'm talking about. And channels like this give you guys the opportunity to have your say, because at the end of the day, if we were to listen to the media and listen to the other side, this era of Doctor Who was the most successful era.
And no
for a
one
long
wanted
time.
what's his face from, as the Doctor. No one wanted Hugh Grant as the Doctor, according to the media. All the fans were really outraged by that, according to the media.
Which is not true.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is not true. But look,
Like
at the end of the day, yeah, Lee is right. Look, the media have been, look, I've said it, the media have lost all credibility throughout this era anyway. And I wouldn't be listening to anything they have to say about Hugh Grant or any other male actor that's connected to this role. All they are is just like the rest of them out there, fake outrage. They've got their own political beliefs, their own ideology, and they want to cast them based on that. Now, for them, the next Doctor must be a woman, because that will then validate Jodie Whittaker's era, and then to them, it would also be, in their own little warped little minds, it would be the validation that they need that this era was successful. And that is not true whatsoever. We know the harsh reality of how bad it is. And all we've ever tried to do on this channel, and other channels out there have done the same, is inform the fandom of actually how bad it is. Yes, we've gotten a lot of hate for it, and we've seen all that throughout the years. But you know what? I'm glad I stuck by my beliefs, my moral compass that I have. Because, at the end of the day, that's what I've seen in society. The biggest changes is people want you to change how you think, how you feel. They want you to basically go back on your own beliefs.
Yeah.
And I will never do that. I'll stay true to myself, and all these guys on the panel, and Charlotte, Daniel, Melina, everybody that we know in this community. They will never change who they are for anybody else, or change their opinion, or compromise for anything. Right? We want Doctor Who to be the best that it can be. We're not asking for much. We're not asking for much. The way people are going on, you think we were asking for a big deal. We're not. Chris Chibnall didn't work for one simple fact. He was the wrong choice. He's not traditionally a sci-fi writer. He does the dramas. He's good at that. He does the detective shows. He's good at that, right? Whoever at the BBC thought he was the right man to take over was absolutely wrong and got it wrong, okay? And now they have to go back to a guy, cap in hand, and basically beg him to come back to take this show and to take it somewhere, because they believe he is the right man. I do believe RTD is the right man. We don't know which version of RTD we'll get. We will get, but there's one thing I do know for certain, is that this man understands Doctor Who, because he proved it with his past work with Doctor Who. 4 seasons, he proved it. He understands it. Did he get everything right? No, obviously he didn't. But all of those things that Chibnall has tried to do, the political stuff, all of this other nonsense, right? RTD would have done it better, and has done it better. So I don't care which version. I don't want 2005 RTD anyway, because I don't want familiar. I don't want what he gave us on his original run. I want to see something completely different from him now, because he has got that maturity now. He has been away for that long now, and he has been writing things down on paper as well for a long time. He's even said it. So for me, I want to see something new. I don't want to see familiar. It's got to be something new, because I think we're at that stage now where if he doesn't and goes back and tries to depend on what he did previous, he's going to fail. It's not going to be good enough.
I don't want to see another council estate. Look, we've done all that, right? We get it. You come from a working class background. Yeah, there's working class representation. Fine, great. Can we just you've done that. You did it quite nicely. Thank you very much. But can we just have some fun in space now, please?
That's it. I don't want to see any more Planet Earth for a while. To be quite honest with you,
It's a TARDIS, not a TARDIS.
let's keep it in space for a while. But look, as I said, channels like this and the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS and all the other channels that were mentioned are important because still to this day, voices are not being heard and stuff. But hopefully that will all change when RTD officially has the reins of the show, and hopefully we will see a different attitude towards fans, all fans. It cannot pander to one section of the fandom anymore. Doctor Who has to appeal to everybody, like RTD did the first time when he came along. This is why I believe he is the right man. He did it the first time round. He was able to bring back long-term fans, bring in new fans, and the British public were behind it again. It was a British institution again. It was kicking ass. It needs to go back doing that. And that's why, look, he did it before. There's no reason why he can't do it again. I don't think he's actually lost his touch. In fairness, the shows that he's went on to write have been absolutely superb. So, I'm excited. That's all I'm going to say. I am excited. But stay tuned to all these channels because there's one thing we will do. If it doesn't turn out to be any of those things that I've said, we will come out and actually say if it's bad. We're not going to kiss RTD's ass like the Chibnall fans have done, right? Even though they know it's bad. If he comes back and his comeback ends up being the worst thing ever, I'll come out and I'll say it. I'll call it out, right? Okay, I do like what he did first time round, and I do have that loyalty towards him. But if he gets it wrong, I'm going to call him out because at the end of the day, Doctor Who can't afford another Chibnall-esque style.
Well, no, because a decade. I mean, it would be, at the end of his run, then it would have been about 10 years of Jodie Whittaker and whatever RTD produced it. And if it's still in that vein, my God, it's only so much we can take. Really, it has to be a complete sweep, clean across the board, a complete clearing out the house, and fixing this shit once and for all.
That's it. And if he does, listen, and if he does, this is the good thing. The survival of Doctor Who is secure, and then we'll get a few more years of Doctor Who again. That's all we've ever wanted. We just wanted this show to be the best that it can be so it can stay on air. He's nearly destroyed it now. It's down to 2 million, which I reckon is less anyway than the 2 million live viewers that they've actually told us. I think it's less because people would have switched channels. So I don't think it is actually 2 million, right? What's the next one? Legend of the Sea Devil's going to get? If that gets less than 2 million, you just have to think about it. The damage is not even finished yet. We don't know how bad it's actually going to get when we get to the centenary. So let's hope that he actually produces 2 decent stories because we want RTD to go in, with a chance. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be a no-hoper, and no matter what he does, it's done. But I think we're near that point anyway. So we'll see. Look, I do have...
Let's hope the Phasmin thing is to placate the crazies on Twitter, and then he's going to undo the Timeless Child thing to placate us. So we've got a clean slate, and we can just move on. That's what I'm hoping
will happen, though.
Well, Carlsberg don't do dreams, but if they did, they'd be the best dreams in the world, as the Carlsberg ad says. But it's not going to happen. We know it's not, so we'll just have to deal with it when it happens. But look, I'm going to leave it there because we could go on all night. We've went 3.5 hours. We haven't done a 3.5 hour stream in a long time, actually, and I really did enjoy this. But I'm going to wrap it up now. There goes the FIFA stream tonight anyway. Sure, I think Dan will probably be watching WrestleMania anyway, so we'll leave it till Monday. So if anybody does want to follow me over on the Irish Geek, it's where I do a bit of gaming. Go over there. I might play a bit of Black Ops 3 Zombies. So if you just want to watch me play zombies, you can. Right, I'm going to leave it there. So say goodnight, panel.
Good night,
panel. It has to be the
what?
1 week.
As usual.
I did as I was told.
As usual.
That's just pulling zeros.
I'll see you later. That
Nuremberg
wasn't
defense.
funny.
Nuremberg
by the way.
defense.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good to see.
Now, feck off.
Thank you.